The Jason Gregor Show.
Well, they just lean on the ground attack, play it safe. The Elks will move to 6-1
On Sports 1440.
Argos threatening, second down and long. Kelly again down to the end zone, touchdown. Another one who's been prominent in that Argo receiving core is Mackay Pope.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
His second home run of the ball game. And he sets a new career high, 6 runs driven in today.
Well, a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Of course, it's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta at playalberta.ca. Hope you had a great weekend. Sports, non-sports. Maybe you were the lucky ones who went to the Friday concert, and unfortunately, maybe you were the unlucky ones who went on Saturday, got rained on a little bit, and that's putting it lightly, I would think. What a storm it was on Saturday night. I hope that you didn't have much damage. Hopefully no flooding. I know flooding's been just prominent all over the place. Joshua was telling us how his buddy driving through a puddle, splashed up, stalls out the car. Now he's out in the back pushing it. Oh, the life of a youngster in his 20s, man. You'll look back on those times and love it. In the moment, not so much. But looking back, you always remember lots of great times about life in your 20s. Well, hopefully you do. Hopefully you have a few things that make you laugh. We got lots to discuss. You probably weren't laughing at the concert, but if you're an Elks fan, you were still laughing over the weekend because your team, after all the games said and done, we come in the Elks starting week 9 in the CFL, and Edmonton in first place. They're 4 points up in Saskatchewan. Now, the Riders do have one game in hand. Then you have Winnipeg also with 8 points. Calgary's got 6. BC only has 2. They're going to have their third starting quarterback of the season for this Thursday's game when they're on the road in Winnipeg, as Farhan Lalji was reporting that they will be going to, I guess it was the backup last week, but no longer the backup, as they can't, hey, man, if you don't have good quarterbacking, it's difficult. It doesn't really matter who the team is, right? And I don't get too down on a young quarterback, although, when you look at it, Bryce has been around for a long time. But Caden Salter is now going to start that game for the BC Lions. The Elks, good news. For the first time all season, they came out of a game without an injury. No linebackers hurt, no offensive linemen hurt, no one. That's good news for them. And they're getting healthier. Carter O'Donnell did not practice today, but that's because him and his wife, baby watch, baby. They're on the clock and hoping to welcome hopefully a healthy child here today, maybe tomorrow, hopefully today. O'Donnell is expected to return and be ready to go at the left guard position on Saturday. Brett Boyko did a pretty good job. But he'll move in and kind of back up, and I think we'll work in practice, and you could see it over the next weeks, especially when Nick Anderson returns, because that would be a ratio changer, and Jabomi potentially could come out. Nick Anderson could start. Nick Anderson, how it works when you're on the 6th game, you get your 1 week of practice in beforehand, and that's where his first practice week starts. So he was out on the field today. He's not going to play on Saturday, but you could see him the following week against Montreal. And other injuries, just anytime you don't have any new injuries, that's a good sign for the green and gold. So they're slowly starting to get healthier. You got some other guys who are on 6 game that are practicing, and will any of them come off early? I'm not sure about that yet, but you're starting to get some bodies healthier. Mechie got through his first game. Brock Mogensen came back. He played fine. So where that's going to help is you just have better depth. And now you have guys who can even help you in more special teams areas. So we'll talk about that. Kevin Woodley's going to join us, talk some goaltending right off the hop. Thomas Hall will talk Blue Jays. And it is a week today, trade deadline in Major Leagues of Baseball. And when you look at who potentially could be on the move, I think the Jays, they're open for business on a lot of different fronts. Obviously, if we look at it, a guy like Varsho, offensively, he's a free agent. You know what? He's not having a great year. I think he's definitely somebody that they would be more than willing to want to look to move. George Springer, same thing, older player, last year of his deal. They'll be interested. Now the Yankees they just lost another outfielder. Not that George plays outfield, but would they move DH? We'll see. But I wouldn't be stunned if George Springer, the Yankees are looking for a bat, if he ended up going there. You look at their pitching, and I see the certain guys where I wouldn't, like, there's some guys I wouldn't be quick to want to trade. Right? I know Gosman and Bieber are both in the final year of their deal. You would like to try to find a way to sign one of them. And for me, it probably would be Bieber because he's younger. So now if you can't get a strong answer that they would sign, well, then you got to trade him. Heck, Max Scherzer, who's starting tonight, teams are always looking for pitching. Now, I don't know how it might just do him a favor. Like, it's not like he's going to get you much in return. Then it's the relief pitchers. And that, to me, is the interesting part of this team. You've got guys like, they're not trading Spencer Miles, so let's start right there. But, like, would you move Tyler Rogers? Like, Jeff Hoffman, his numbers, funny enough, since he got taken out of the closer role, he's actually been a really good setup guy. So, and I know they're like, he's not a closer. So you only need one good closer, but you need a good bullpen. So I wouldn't be shocked if a team went after him at all. And then, Fluharty, he's a lefty. Me personally, it's always hard to find a lefty. Like, the one guy I would try, I don't think anybody would take him, but man, if I get rid of Brandon Little just for a bag of baseballs, I probably would, simply because I just don't think he's ever going to be in a good mental state pitching for the Jays anymore. I don't see it. I could be wrong, but I don't necessarily see that being the case. So we'll see what they do there. Elsewhere, we're going to hear from Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They spoke today. Zach Hyman has his golf tournament, and they had a lot of players there. And so the captain and associate captain of the Oilers both spoke. So we'll play some of their clips later on today. Everett Fitzhughes will join us. We continue to go around the NHL. We'll stop in Seattle today. Rick Walters, former CFLer, Grey Cup champion, former coach at the CIS level, U Sport level. He is going to join us, and it's going to become a new feature that we do every Monday, just kind of breaking down a lot of different things in football. And, play calling, offensive, defensive side of things from Rick, who's done a lot of it. So that should be pretty fun. So we'll start today at 3, and next week and after that, it's going to be for an hour long in studio with Rick. So we look forward to that. You can always get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 is the text line. Of course, you can say hi to Deck and anybody else on our YouTube chat. If you like, chime in on there. They're always having some interesting conversations over there. We got a few texts already coming in. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Greg's, are the Elks for real? Well, yeah, I don't see how you can say otherwise. There's no reason to question a team when they're 6-1. You are what your record says you are in a lot of cases. Now, you might lose one game or win one game you don't, but overall, Edmonton's good. Look who they've beaten. Look at this. The only loss they had was to Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions. That's it. And Edmonton didn't love their game where they may be a little bit proud of themselves, possibly. But they beaten Saskatchewan, they beaten Winnipeg, and they beaten Montreal. So the three teams with the best record outside of Edmonton are Montreal, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg. And Edmonton's beat all three of them. Of course they're for real. They've yet to play Toronto. They've yet to play Hamilton. They've yet to play Calgary. Of course, we have the Labor Day games coming up at the end of August against the Stampeders. Meanwhile, Edmonton has Saskatchewan again this week. Then they play Montreal. So they're right in the teeth of their hard schedule. Then they're home to Toronto and then Winnipeg. And then they have, of course, they have the bye week, and then they go into to Labor Day. So after a long stretch of 10 straight games, then they'll get a bye week and they'll be rested up for that Labor Day game on the 7th of September. Should be a hell of a match. I can't wait for it. But there's no reason to question the green and gold, man. They are good. They're really good. And I would fully expect the biggest crowd of the season, and it might be the biggest crowd in multiple years. Last year, there was 30,053 fans to the Edmonton-Saskatchewan game on a Saturday afternoon, but the Elks weren't 6-1, and the Riders weren't in second place with the Elks in first place. So there's lots more going, and the teams didn't meet the week before in the best game of the year in the CFL, a 36-34 classic that came down to a 57-yard field goal from Blanchard, which, I was talking again to players today about it. Like, there's that type of finish just still resonates with the team. And I honestly believe it resonates. Like, we have talked Elks on the team a lot. And I could just tell you, just from, if we give away a pair of tickets, the amount of texters who are interested in getting the seats has gone up like tenfold compare it was last year. It's not even close, to be honest. Not even close. So that's a good sign. You needed to do some things better as an organization off the field. And then you had to be a better team on the field. And I think we are starting to see that. Connor Halley is with us. Con Man, how you doing?
Doing good, Jason. And I'll reiterate that. We've done some giveaways on Facebook here. And, years past, it was kind of tough to give those tickets away. We're getting hundreds of people that want to go to games. And, follow the Sports 1440 socials for your opportunity next time. But, yeah, they're legit. That I heard people trying to pick holes in that win over Saskatchewan. Like, okay, they're a good team too. That's a defending Grey Cup champion that was playing an emotional high. Like, that's what happens when two good teams meet. They're going to make plays against each other. That's what they're going to do. Go back and forth. Edmonton Elks are for real, and the confidence is only growing in that room. So it's encouraging to see, and I'm looking forward to this game on Saturday.
And the other story from the weekend to talk about is young Jackson Koivu. I don't know if you watched it or not. He won his first PGA championship, took home just under $1.6 million at the 3M Open. And he staved off Scotty Scheffler in the final round. Scotty Scheffler, he ended up beating him by 3 strokes. Now, I had a lead of 6 going in. And Scheffler shot a 63, and Koivu shot a 66 after shooting a 61 on Saturday. Like, this kid is a story to watch. And it's always great when you have, and the thing I liked about it, like, there wasn't a massive amount of hype. I haven't read articles of people saying generational talent, the next superstar, he's going to be the next Tiger Woods. Didn't see any of that, which is great, because I think it's unfair to athletes to do that to him. Say, hey, he's a good young player. And he comes out of college highly ranked. And if you're a golf fan, but are you kidding me? The pressure, and just like, that's his 3rd start on the PGA Tour, and he wins. Like, awesome for him, man. And I know that golf's always looking, well, every sport's always looking for another guy who can come in and kind of get your fans excited about it. Early on, it would be hard not to be excited about him, because that's a fantastic performance. And right now, Scotty Scheffler, it's odd to say this, but he just can't win. He's just runner-up of the year. It's all, like, considering how much he won the last 2 years, and now that just shows you how hard golf is. Like, he's right there every weekend. Well, not every weekend, but lots of the weekends. But he has yet to win. It's wild. I think he's finished second now 5 or 6 times this year. It's crazy. So we'll see. He's got a few tournaments left to get this first win of the year. But that's if you're a golf fan, something tells me you will be watching Koivu. Hey, Gregor, when are you going to play the McDavid comments in the 3 o'clock hour? Most likely to hear from Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. We'll get to some of those then. Next hour, we got Kevin Woodley joining us. Next, it is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Where remember, Lotto Max. Tuesday, get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. $10 million main prize and 10 prizes of $100,000 at PlayAlberta.ca.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
Oodle noodle origin.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle noodle.
Albertans love to debate the best way to enjoy summer sports.
No. Playing on the field is the best, man.
No way. Watching from the sidelines, way more relaxing.
You're both crazy. Checking out the game from the bro zone is where it's at.
But there's one thing every sports fan agrees on.
Wilhauk beef jerky.
Wherever you catch the action, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk beef jerky. Because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The Bricks 55th birthday bash continues with big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Plus, take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses, or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses, and don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over $155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in, the birthday bash ends July 29th at the Brick. Saving you more.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country. Yeah, it's me again. And if you're sidelined with a sports injury, you already know nothing's more frustrating than being told to just rest. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we get athletes moving sooner with our zero-gravity treadmills. You can run, train, and rebuild strength with up to 80% less body weight, so your injury heals while your confidence comes roaring back. When your sports injury's yelling, whisper back. LeadingEdgePhysio.com, because life shouldn't hurt.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company
Listen to Jason
Christmas
Gregor
party.
Show. PlayAlberta.ca.
At some point over the winter,
Remember,
your car
if
was
you gamble,
and
use
it's
your
been
game
hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to robertsonbodyworks.com.
I'm Tim Robertson, and I fix cars.
Not sure where to turn? Remember 211, the number to contact for mental health, addiction, and community supports. It's free, confidential, and available 24/7. 211 Alberta. One number, countless connections.
A message from the Government of Alberta.
Here's what you need to know about Lux Windows. We work hard. We come in early, we stay late, we go above and beyond, and then we go a little further. Not for awards or a pat on the back, We work hard so that choosing our windows and doors is an easy decision for you. It's the Alberta way. It's the Lux way. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Nation Golf Tournament, Friday, August 28th, 2026 at Millwoods Golf Course. Golf, drinks, swag, food, and fun. Every swing supports the Gregor's grads and helps out graduates shine on graduation day. Sign up at nationexperiences.ca before it sells out.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Hey, afternoon. How are you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Cougar, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl coming up in the 3 o'clock hour today. Now, though, we're going to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints, and go to sgsaints.ca. That's where you can sign up. Your son and daughter for a hot camp, August 24th to 28th, getting ready for the season. U9, U11, U13, U15 and 16. They got it all. Check it out, sgsaints.ca. As Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com joins us once again. Woodley, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm a little, I'm moving a little slow today, though, Jason. I participated in an adult goalie camp over the weekend. And yeah, she was a grind. I'm not sure what hurts worse today, my bad knee or my pride. Both took a beating, but I learned a lot. I had some fun. I met a lot of great, passionate fellow aged goaltenders. It was a great weekend.
All right. I love it. Now, speaking of aging goaltenders, we touched on it briefly, so I kind of want to get into it a little bit more. Just the Jonathan Quick, he retires, and now he gets put in a position as a goalie coach, like director. And yeah, like, I know he played the position, but just because you play a position doesn't mean you're automatically great at coaching at it. What do you make of this hire here by the Rangers, and how, because I know you're pretty close in the goalie community, in the goalie coach community, and goalie director community. I'm guessing there's a few people that aren't enamored by this hire.
You know what? There was eyebrows raised, but I wouldn't say not enamored. And one of the things that, when we talked about it last week, it had just been reported as director. And since then, they clarified it's director of development, right? So as opposed to somebody overseeing the whole thing, he's going to be focusing on the younger goaltenders coming up. So I applaud them for adding that position and adding an extra layer of support for younger goaltenders. We've talked about this in the past, Jason. Quite often, your toughest year as a pro, as a goaltender, is quite often your first year. And it doesn't matter whether the jump is to the ECHL or the AHL. And more it's becoming to the ECHL. I've had goalies like that establish themselves in the NHL, and looking back on their careers, they say the toughest jump is junior to pro, college to pro. It's harder even than AHL to NHL. There's just so much going on. And quite often, especially at the ECH level, there's zero support for it. It makes no sense. At a stage where your goaltenders need the most help, they're most often left to their own devices. So Quick being able to sort of help with goalies at different levels, go down into junior, go down into their, if they've got college prospects, and see them, talk to them, give them some of the experience advice that he has. I mentioned last week, like Bill Ranford, who is one of the, directors with the LA Kings, just raves about his knowledge and the way he thinks the position. Those are all positives. What they don't have since Benoit Allaire left, and they're not alone. A lot of teams don't have this. The Pittsburgh Penguins just walked away from one, and as I understand it, aren't going to rehire for the position, is a director at the top. And so adding all these voices and all this expertise and all this experience is fantastic. And again, this isn't a criticism of the Rangers, because I applaud them for doing that. But without a director, who runs it to make sure it's all on the same page?
Yes.
Now, I think that's important. Now, sometimes it's the goalie coach. Sometimes the NHL goalie coach takes on that role. And I think in some organizations, that's just the way it's done. And there is a top to bottom information sharing. There's a process there. Here's what we do. Let's have a discussion about why we do it, if we need to change it. Like, it's just an ongoing dialogue about the position. But the NHL goalie coach has also got to manage his goalies. And increasingly, we're going to see more having to manage 3. Quite often, there's scouts around, but they're overseeing it at the final stages late in the season. They want their eyes on it as well. Like, it just feels like a lot sometimes. And so if you're either asking somebody to add to their plate and run everything top bottom and make sure you're all on the same page, or you're ignoring it. You're just putting everybody in great position, but not one sort of unified philosophy. And that's where I think, I'm not saying a director is an absolute, but that's where I think that the organizations that get it right are the ones that sort of have that in place and have the hierarchy. Look no further than the Calgary Flames. Jordan Sigalet's the director, but he also does a lot of the scouting, right? So it's a dual role. He's not just a director. He also does a ton of the scouting, and he's discovered a lot of, he's the reason they keep signing goalies that come over late bloomers and having success in the National Hockey League, Devin Cooley being one of the prime examples. And then he's built a team with Mackenzie Skapsky and Jason LeBarber underneath him that are on the same page, that have, discussions on a regular basis about how the game is evolving and how they need to evolve their approach. And I think they're, Cooley is a prime example, the way his game's changed. They're at the cutting edge of sort of being ahead of the curve on the way the game is changing and the way goalies are adapting. And to me, it's just, I wanted to go back to it because I think I was maybe more critical of it last week, thinking it was a director position. And now that it's a director of development, like a little more just blind applause for it, but also, hey, are you all going to be on the same page as you add all these voices and all these opinions about goaltending? I think it's important to have a unified direction.
Okay. Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine, NHL.com, join us. Jet Greaves, 3-year deal at $5 million, which I think has the potential to be an unreal deal for Columbus. Yep. And Greaves also makes pretty good money, $5 million for 3 years. Where did you come out on this deal?
Perfect compromise. Obviously, when we saw the comps that both the player and the team used heading into arbitration, I had the numbers were 2.8. Columbus was thinking, and 7.5. And somebody wisely pointed out that those comps seem to be Artur Shilov's on the low level from the team and Dustin Wolf on the high level from Jet Greaves' group. Honestly, the underlying numbers tell me that the high level was where they should be aiming. And so for Columbus, you do 2 things. One, you keep that cap hit down in a position that's got incredible volatility. And I say this all the time, and I keep waiting for somebody to take away the goalie union card. But if I'm a team, I try and avoid term just because there's so much volatility. Would I have been willing to buy in longer term and at more money on Jet Greaves? Yes, because he hasn't had a single season, and I know some of them are just small stints up, where he's underperformed his environment. He has outperformed his environment every time he's been in the NHL. Now, the margin by which he did it as a full-timer this year decreased compared to, say, the heater he was on late last season and some of the earlier in his career tastes that he got in short windows, 1 game in his first year and things like that. So there would have been a risk to go long. He's a goalie I would have taken that risk on because of his approach and his mindset. But in the short term, you've got a really good bargain, and you've mitigated some of that long-term risk and the volatility around the position. For Greaves, you get a chance, like you said, good money, but a guy who projects to, could have fairly been in that 7.5 range, and we keep seeing the cap go up. Well, you got a chance to sort of hit that jackpot 3 years from now when the cap will have increased, 3 more times. And maybe somebody else resets the marketplace in terms of what goaltenders. And maybe by then he's established it's not just 1 year as a number one. And, for stints last year, job share with Elvis Merzlikins. 3 years from now, if he continues to do what he did to this point in a larger sample size, there'll be no doubts about what he's going to get paid. And it'll be a lot. And a chance to cement himself on Team Canada as well.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see kind of how it plays out. We saw a lot of change in Team Canada last time, so who knows what happens in 2028. Everybody has like a year and a half now to see where their game is at, and as we saw, lots can change in a short period of time when it comes to the goaltending. Now, a few other things, Kev, that I wanted to get to, is Kevin Woodley joins us from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Now, you just did a high performance goalie camp and how the game is changing at the highest levels, right? And how goalies can try to solve it, right? So my question first, though, is how the game changes at the highest level. Is it eventually trickling down to the lower, like when I say highest level, like junior A, major junior? Do you see it trickling down there? And is that where the changes have to be implemented for goalies?
Yes and no. I don't have as clear a picture, obviously, right? Like I don't have a clear set of analytics for the Western Hockey League or the Canadian Hockey League or NCAA. When you talk to people anecdotally, yes. Like the NCAA, there were quite often it was a one-shot league for years. And goalies could come out and be super aggressive and not worry about rebounds. And we saw a lot of goalies get signed over the years, as undrafted free agent late bloomers, and everybody would get excited about the numbers they post. And I'd watch the film and the guy'd be like 3 feet out of his crease, making one save, and there'd be no second chances and no traffic. And I'd be like, none of this applies to the National Hockey League. I think that has changed for sure. To the degree that it's matching, identically, no. I mean, there's still more mistakes in younger hockey. Probably the NCAA is becoming closer to a pro game. And the CHL is going the way of that more younger, mistake-laden, kind of like a pro goalie starting in the ECHL, where it's harder to read the game. We've talked about it over the years. Sometimes you get to the NHL and the game's a little easier because everybody's where they're supposed to be doing what they're supposed to do. I don't think that exists in most junior leagues. But from a skill standpoint in terms of shooters, yes. From a what they're trying to do offensively standpoint, east-west plays and stuff like that, yes. Chaos, yes. Like maybe not quite to the same degree that we've seen in the NHL, but it is being mirrored at the lower levels. And for goalies, you should be starting to try and answer those questions. And I've sort of put together this presentation that I did at a couple of goalie schools over the summer, and it's kind of snowballed a little bit and gotten a little more like feedback and a lot of positive feedback on it as a way goalies should be targeting this. And so one of it is the East-West stuff. And we've talked about this for years, Jason, how much it's gone up. Like since 2019, it's gone up over 25%, the amount of East-West plays, and most of that is below the slot line. So how do you solve that as a goaltender? Well, do you need to move efficiently East-West, move smoothly, move powerfully? Yes. So how you train, the body mechanics, getting rotation in your movements. You can't just push across flat. You need to get rotation back to your post. All the stuff that you see goalies work on in the summers now. But we also need to rethink depth. Depth is no longer north-south. It's no longer, do I have the heels at the top of my crease or my toes inside the edge of my crease? Like that used to be, we call that heels out, toes in. And that used to be how we measured depth. Depth has got to be measured east-west now. And for most, it's relative to your posts. Are you outside of your post line? If you were to take the post on each side and draw a line straight up the ice, are you outside of that? When the puck gets to the dot, are you squared up on him to the point where you have nothing inside that? Or is your depth neutral enough that you've got that, say it's your left dot, you've got that right leg and that sort of that right hip inside those post lanes, those post lines? I would argue if you don't, your chances of recovering on that low lateral, if that guy sifts it through to the other side, just become increasingly more difficult. And so how we look at the game that way is a major part. And this starts in these camps in the summer. Like if you're just going out there and you're doing your reps and you're squaring up on guys at the dot and you're outside of your post lines, is that going to work when the season starts? Do you need to be out there on a shot from there? I would argue no, and more coaches are doing the same. So that's one of them. There's so many different ones here. The slot line is a big one. Low slot line is a master one, a really important one. And again, it's not just understanding how much more chances they are, but the reality is a low slot line play that connects goes in 35% of the time. Like that's more than a breakaway. And so we look at Logan Thompson and his evolution in 2 years in Washington, playing deeper. He'll be the first to tell you, he told us that he credited it to Sean Burke, but he wasn't willing to listen to those lessons until he left the Vegas Golden Knights. And now it works in Washington. I mentioned Calgary, Devin Cooley, Dustin Wolf, guys who are playing within their crease. Wolf, even as a sub 6 footer, playing within the blue ice almost all the time, not just north-south, but east-west as well. So that's a massive part of it. Rush depth, guys not coming out super aggressive and retreating. I think in Edmonton, this is going to be a big one. Devin Levi is a guy who plays with a ton of aggression in his game, especially off the rush. Incredible skater, But the reality is, no matter how fast you are, no matter how smooth you are, that's still a lot of moving parts. And it's a lot of moving parts that have to move further the more aggressive, the further out you are. And it's not just off a pass. It's off players coming down the wing and having the skill that they work on all summer at these camps like the Celebrini's at in Bedard, the Kaivo camps, and the Cole Todd hockey camps in North Van that so many stars are coming to, where they come down that wing and they can push the puck out, pull it into their feet and shoot and change that angle by 3 feet. And that 3-foot angle change, if you're 2.5 feet outside of your crease, is massive. And so this is a big one for Devin Levi. We are now seeing goalies. Dustin Wolf, 6 feet. 2-on-1. I did a bunch of video on this for the presentation. Like 2-on-1, he's barely heels out most of the time. He's not coming 2-3 feet out and drifting. Like he is just at the edge of his crease. And sometimes he starts inside his crease, even on odd man rushes. So this is another trend I think we need to watch. Another trend I think at Edmonton you'll need to pay close attention to see if they get Levi on the same page. Face-offs. Kids line up at the face-off dot at the edge of the crease. And I talked to junior coaches. We've got a story coming up at Ingold where they can't catch up on the laterals off the face-off. Puck goes back to the point, feeds to the other side, down to the half wall. Like the most common plays, if you're outside or at the edge of your blue paint, that's too much. And they struggle to keep up with it. So
you should have goalies. I'm just for minor hockey goalies at U11, U13, don't have them out as far, have them closer.
Yeah, honestly, and this is a tough one when we get down at like super low levels because they're too small for the nets.
Yes.
Right. And I love USA Hockey's small. I'm headed to their symposium in Boston in a week and a half, and they play smaller nets at smaller ages. And I know for the most part, we've been resistant to that in Canadian hockey, and not everybody in the US loves it either. I was on a call with Devin Dubnyk the other day where he said, hey, when you go to the symposium, tell them to get rid of their smaller nets. But
that's the thing I don't get. Like, why? Like smaller nets at U9. Like, give me a break. It's U9. They should have smaller nets.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of arguments why it actually builds better shooters too, because you don't just walk in, put your head down, not look, and know that if you hit the top corner of the net, the goalie literally on his tippy toes, reaching his arm up, can't even get there, right? Like it just can't save it. So that becomes a factor. And U13, into that 13,
11, sure, I get it.
Into that 14, 15-year-old range, though, you need to be thinking in these terms. I do believe that. And I'm not saying it's an absolute because there's no one way to play this position. But you do need to start thinking in these terms. Broken plays, like again, the amount of stuff that bounces off legs and in traffic. Some old school coaches will be like, well, hey, like if it's going to hit something, you want to be closer to the screener or the deflector, and it has a better, the closer you are to a tip, the less angle change there can be before it hits you. So close down on it. But the reality is of a lot of this stuff is there's a degree. If you come, say, past 3/4 edge of your crease and it hits a leg, or even if you get a piece of it and it kicks out to the other side, you've just increased the distance you have to cover off on that next play by so much. And again, sort of the power of middle net and the power of not being out chasing these things, giving yourself a chance on the second look and the third look is an increasingly important part of the game. And then one of the last ones, this is one we've talked about a lot during Carolina's run to the Stanley Cup, where Brendan Bussey had 40% of the chances in the Cup final were high danger. Low danger shots, clear-sighted low danger shots in the last 6 years are down 35%. So if you are a young goalie growing up, and you find yourself saying at any point, there's goalies we talked about this might be an issue for Markstrom in Florida, who are at their best when they see 30 plus. And when it doesn't go, when they only see 20 or whatever, they just struggle to find a rhythm. You better figure out a way to stay engaged mentally. You better find a way to stay focused when it matters the most, not for all 65 minutes, because as Braden Holt used to tell us, that's impossible. It's not about staying focused for every minute. It's about recognizing when it drifts and bringing it back and finding tools to bring it back in the moments that matter. You better be able to do that because you are not getting easy shots anymore. Like that is gone. The whole old Carolina Hurricanes where they just warm up the goalies with outside shots, that's done. 35% decrease in easy shots in the National Hockey League. If you're somebody that needs to rely on feeling pucks from the outside, you better get it in and warm up because the chances are you're not going to see nearly as much in the games. And so as a young goaltender, we see a lot of this in the offseason now, Jason. You got to focus on the mental game too. Mental strength comes from There are tools you can build to develop mental strength. It's not just, hey, I'm really focused, I'm really sharp today. Like there are ways and tools to sort of develop that. And that's one of the things you need to start thinking about, especially as you get into that elite category, 14, 15, 16, and you're looking to pursue up to next levels. You better have that solved by the time you get there.
Okay. It is now you quickly mentioned Devin Levi, and he's the one guy, Kev, like honestly, wasn't in the NHL last year. And you know what you did 2 or 3 years ago is really hard to gauge on where you are as a player at any position. So like what's your expectations? What expectations should Oiler fans have of Devin Levi this season?
Oh, that's a great question. My expectations are like, I'm biased, Jason, right? Like, I got to admit it, right? Like when you get to know some of these guys, and you see the work rate, like it's not just like, oh, he's a great guy, I love him, like I hope he has success. But like I've seen the work rate, I've seen the passion that he has for it. I've been on the ice with him in the summers, and seen some of the highlight reel saves that he makes in these. He plays a lot of he does a lot of his training in 3-on-3 rinks. So that's the other thing that's really important for goalies now is pace and being able to sort of maintain a high pace at the elite levels of the National Hockey League. He has all the pace in the world. He has all the horsepower in the world, and he pays attention to the fine details that allow him to control that. Like I said, I do think sort of managing depth and not finding a line for him between aggressive and over aggressive will be an important part, just because the game's changed since he was last in the National Hockey League on a regular basis. And there were things he did. I mean, if he wants to come way out on a breakaway or on a shootout and use that skating to his advantage, that's one thing. But, beyond that, I just think I point to the Wolf model and that contained element. Now, if you're asking somebody to make big adjustments and you're not giving them a chance to play a lot of games to get comfortable with them, like that's a pretty tall task. And that's the one thing I wonder about. It puts a lot of burden on Peter Aubry, right? If there's not going to be a lot of game reps, for whoever it is, whether it's Levi or one of the other guys, especially if they're making changes, to find the things that make them comfortable, help them adjust the things that they need to get more comfortable with, and then walk into a game and not overthink it. The easiest thing to say and the hardest thing to do is just to go out and play. Good goalie coaches find ways to sort of get their guys there with the right work and the right drills. And so I would say that one of the things they're going to have to be cognizant of is how they manage practices, how they structure practices. And that goes beyond the goalie coach. That's the whole staff being on the same page in terms of how they manage rest, how they manage reps, and giving the goalies opportunities. There are times where the job is you got to be a target and you got to put up the crap and you're just basically there to stand in a skills session and get absolutely peppered. But you better find a balance where you can get something that resembles game reps for some of these guys to make sure they can sort of work on things and stay sharp in between long gaps between starts.
Kev, as always, buddy, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Have yourself a lovely week, and we'll talk to you after a long weekend.
Thanks, Jason.
There you go. That's Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Quick break. We will return. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. When we come back, trades. More trades coming. We'll discuss them next on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Need an excuse to upgrade your ride? Well, we got a few to share. Go Auto has over 18,000 new and used vehicles ready to test drive right now. With more than 70 locations, your perfect match could be closer than you think. A family-friendly SUV for soccer practice, a fuel-sipping commuter, or a hardworking truck that's ready for anything. Trusted brands and a team that's actually happy to help. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 air conditioning install company for lovers, because it's been a while since you kissed her tender lips or felt his warm embrace, because it's too hot for love. But you can rekindle that fire with AC from Legacy, with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Your legacy of love will grow stronger, because with AC from Legacy, it's never too hot for love.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Your weekend hotspot is on the rocks.
Party with Edmonton's best bands every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we got them all.
From the Varkels to Tallboy, Radioactive, Curves, the Brute Squad, Morningwood, Roxilla, Punch Buggy, and more.
Plus, the guy who keeps the party going every weekend. DJ Kenny K on the ones and twos, live.
Get ready to have a good time this weekend.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Chat Brab and 118th.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Troll down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and a calibration of pneumatic, battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
2:47. Well, less than a week. Trade deadline in Major League Baseball. And back in March, a lot of people thought, hey, who do you think the Jays are going to add? As they'll be in the playoff mix for sure. Most of us thought that. Yeah. Did not come to fruition. As the Toronto Blue Jays, a week from the trade deadline, are 5.5 games out of the wild card spot. And they're in dead last in the AL East division. Right now, they would have to pass Detroit, Baltimore, Houston, Seattle, Minnesota, and Cleveland to get into wild card spot. Highly, highly unlikely. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They've lost ground to everybody but Cleveland in that time because they're also 3-7. And Cleveland has fallen down. You got other teams. Suddenly the Twins are 1 game back of them. Seattle's 1.5. The Astros 2 back. So it'll be a great race. It just doesn't look like the Jays are going to be part of it. So how big of a seller will they be? Let's find out as we get to our MLB report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. As Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation joins us. Thomas, good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you, Jason?
I am excellent. The Jays they're the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons. No one thought they'd be a seller, but here they are, and they're looking like they're a seller. How deep do you think they go as a seller? Like more than 3 players? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the market will dictate how big of a sell-off the Jays ultimately have here. I do think we'll probably see a small handful of moves here from the Jays. Like I would assume that most of their pending free agents will be the biggest appetite that they'll have to be sellers this time next week. But I'm not exactly sure how much bigger the sell-off will be beyond those pieces, beyond a Kevin Gausman, Shane Bieber, George Springer, Dalton Varsho, Max Scherzer, depending on how he looks tonight against Washington, maybe. But there are other pieces on this roster that in what will be an extreme seller's market around Major League Baseball this year, that, could somebody like Jeff Hoffman, who's signed for one more season, be a coveted target, even though, he's had a weird, extreme to the extreme type of season, but he's still somebody that, under the hood, the numbers are really good. The fact that he has prior closing experience too is something that a lot of teams will be looking to add to at the back end of their bullpen this time of year. So, I think they're in a position right now where, just because, it certainly seems like they're punting, or they're going to punt on 2026, unfortunately, they're not in a position where they have to sell just because they're out of the race. I think for them to move, especially somebody like Kevin Gausman, who means so much to this franchise, this fan base, it would have to be for a meaningful return. But when you look at the starting pitching market outside of Tarek Skubal, it seems like it could be fairly lucrative for the Blue Jays, even with a pending free agent. So, there's going to have to be, unfortunately, some really tough conversations. And, inside that clubhouse, they're trying to, ignore the fact that they're in a position where they are right now, where they're looking currently at losing guys rather than adding guys. But at the same time, this is a business at the end of the day. And for the Blue Jays as an organization that's going to be looking to compete again in 2027, the hope will be that you can sort of replicate the blueprint that you had 2 years ago, where things didn't go the Blue Jays' way. They sold. They got some pieces to help replenish their farm system, pieces that have now come up in 2026 and help fill some holes for them around the roster. So if they can execute some, similar type of moves like that this time around, then hopefully they will be better positioned to make a more competitive run next year and years after that too.
Yeah, you mentioned Hoffman. He had two really bad performances against Baltimore and Arizona, and then the San Diego, Milwaukee ones, you're kind of like, don't love them. But other than that, wasn't really that bad. And he's played, I think he's pitched in 47 different games. So there's been way more good outings than bad outings, but he seems to be a guy right now that the bad outings, because they're very memorable. And I wonder, how teams would look at it and say, yeah, okay, this guy's really good, but he has the potential to just have that one bad game. And so maybe they're leery of it, because if you look at the overall numbers, they're actually pretty good, but there's select games, like when he's bad, it's really bad, even though it's only minimal time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's one of those weird things where, when he's at his best, he's striking out almost everyone, getting a ton of swing and misses. Nobody's reaching base against him. But, on the other end of that spectrum, where it is the extreme of that, the bad times are really bad, and they're in big spots, like you said. So, yeah, I think, some teams will have a little bit of pause when it comes to that. But I think overall, when you look at his numbers, and some of the big ones that teams always point to when it comes to relievers are strikeouts, swings and miss, walks, and home runs, because that's typically what relievers can control. And for Jeff, he has a almost career high in strikeout rate this year. He's improved his walk rate from a year ago. His whiff rate, his chase rate are both career bests. When you look at, his individual pitches too, the fastball, the slider, the splitter, they're all playing really well. The sweeper is as well too. So I think at the end of the day, there should be a really good market out there for Hoffman if the Jays are willing to move him and, try and reallocate some of those resources elsewhere amongst the roster. But I think, there are a lot of teams out there that could use somebody like Jeff Hoffman, even though, there is that little bit of a worry and concern that if he does, struggle, those struggles are probably going to be pretty bad and pretty impactful in those moments. But you could say that about a half a dozen relievers in Major League Baseball. Yes. I think just because, Jeff Hoffman, unfortunately, might forever be in these parts the guy who gave up the blown save in Game 7 of the World Series, right? And it's tough to shake that narrative amongst the fan base for sure, especially when you also have a longer trail of breadcrumbs where, sometimes the opportunities haven't gone your way in those big save situations. But at the end of the day, the numbers speak for themselves. And I think Jeff Hoffman could be very well beneficial on a lot of playoff contender rosters right now.
So, lots of pitchers will be available for the Jays. Where do you come out on Bieber and Gausman? Like, to trade both of them, now you're searching for starting pitchers in the offseason. What do you think the odds are they could sign one of them? And does Bieber the one that makes more sense? And do you think either one's going to be in Toronto long term?
Yeah, and like that's the bigger part too of this conversation between, trading Gausman and Bieber potentially. It's like, it's not even just that you have to go out and look for replacements in the offseason. It's how do you fill those rotation spots right now just to get through the rest of 2026? Like, there is next to no depth for the Blue Jays down at AAA, especially with Jake Bloss currently on the injured list, getting evaluated for a shoulder injury. You have no idea what you have in Max Scherzer. Spencer Miles has been a fantastic addition for this team. But because he doesn't have the innings built up throughout his career, you can't just go out and expect him to give you 5 or 6 every 5th day, or you'd be running a really high injury risk with a guy who's already had multiple season-ending surgeries in his career. So that's something that I'm sure the Blue Jays are weighing internally right now in terms of, do they pull the trigger on both? I think, again, the market will dictate whether or not they deal both or just one of those two. But then when you look at the free agency, I think Kevin Gausman is a guy who obviously, like, when you think of Kevin Gausman, I think he's a guy that you would expect to be a Blue Jay for the rest of his career. And if things played out differently this year for the Jays, then maybe that would have been the case. But, he's somebody that spoke in spring training several months ago and said that he wasn't really sure what his plans were beyond 2026, whether or not he would continue playing or decide to hang it up. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think, like, if he decides, hey, you know what, I want to give it one last shot, I want to try and get over that hump in Toronto, then, I think there would definitely be an open door there for him to return on a short-term deal. With Bieber, it's a little bit of a different conversation. One, because he's 5 years younger, than Gausman. And so I think if he has a strong rest of the season and goes into the playoffs on some other team and has a good postseason, then he's a guy that I would say the chances are much lower of him potentially returning, just because at that point, for a guy that, will be entering his age 31 season, he's probably, commanding offers in the 4 or 5 year term. And I think for the Blue Jays, as much as they love having Shane Bieber on their roster right now, I think if he, has a really good rest of the season here, I think he might price himself out of a return to Toronto.
Okay. Talking Blue Jays, of course, 1 week away from trade deadline. Thomas Hall joins us. And George Springer, Dalton Varsho, those seem to be the two obvious offensive guys that I think will get traded. Anybody else that you see as with a realistic chance to move on the offensive side?
Yeah, I think the majority of the focus for the Blue Jays will be on the pitching side, like you said. But as much as fans probably don't want to hear this, would the Blue Jays theoretically listen on somebody like Ernie Clement? And I know he's a fan favorite. I know he's having a career year, but he's somebody that has 2 years left of club control. It's going to get more expensive. Moving forward here, could they potentially get a really good return on a guy like him? And, it would have to be a sizable return, but I think just where the Blue Jays are positioned, given how this season hasn't gone their way, I think you have to be open to creative scenarios and see, how the rest of the league sort of values a guy like Ernie Clement. And I think, chances are it'd probably be a less than 5% chance that the Blue Jays would ultimately move him. But I think they're in a very unique position where you can sort of canvas the rest of the sport and see how other teams value your players and see whether or not if it makes sense to get a little bit creative and move some things around just so it better positions you for years ahead.
Wow, yeah, that'd be wild. He's the one guy who's actually swinging the bat. So, God, you get rid of him. The Jays can't get any worse in offense. They're already dead last. So, I guess there's nowhere to go but up. So, we'll see what happens offensively for them. What's the latest on now? I know Barger's done for the year. How can like just a wasted year for him, obviously, with injuries. What's your latest on Barger? And is this something that's going to carry over into next year?
So that was the worry heading into today is we didn't have any sort of information as to whether or not it would be full Tommy John or just a repair to that ligament in his elbow. But John Schneider told reporters today in Washington that he didn't require the full Tommy John. The UCL is intact. It was just a repair. So that should take roughly 6 months, which is the good news. Like that's the best possible outcome that the Blue Jays could have hoped here with Barger, who, only ended up playing 9 games for the Jays this year. I think more than anything else, he's somebody they missed the most injury wise. I had him coming into this year as, next to Vladdy, their most important hitter. That's how impactful the ceiling could potentially be for Barger. So, the 6 month timeline, roughly, that should put him on track to be 100% ready to hit the ground running come spring training, 2027. And, we don't know if that's even going to start on time, but at least for Barger's recovery standpoint, he shouldn't miss any games in 2027.
All right. Thomas, appreciate this, man. Be a busy week. Thanks for your time.
Of course. Always glad to jump on with you.
There you go. That's Thomas Hall joining us from Blue Jays Nation. The Jays will be a fascinating team to watch. They're right up there, one of the most disappointing teams in baseball. There's no question about them. The Tigers, obviously, their season hasn't gone the way they would like, for sure. And we'll see. Are the Jays, you just look at their offense, there's so many holes right now offensively that it's not like one trade's going to fix anything. They got multiple moves that they need to make. Okay, Guerrero's first, Jimenez their shortstop, Okamoto's third. Their infield as far as defensive alignment goes, they just need so much more from their outfielders. They've got very little pop in the outfield, none. So that's what they're going to have to improve. And then Kirk's got to find his game. He's been brutal too. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sean Cunningham of RE/MAX Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly. 780-265-0165. Sean Cunningham, RE/MAX Real.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Montreal Canadiens have acquired a winger, Sasha Pasachuk, from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for center Sean Farrell. Both players in the deal currently restricted free agents in need of new contracts. Former CFL most outstanding defensive player Lorenzo Malden has decided to unretire and join the BC Lions. Malden, 33, led the CFL in sacks in 2022 with 17 and had previously signed a one-day contract to retire with the Ottawa Redblacks after a previous stint with the USFL Louisville Kings. Major League Baseball, Jays in Washington at 4:45. We'll join that game in progress following the Jason Gregor Show at 6 o'clock. One game currently underway. Rangers on top of the Mariners, 7-3 in the top of the ninth. Later today, you got the Pirates and Diamondbacks. Orioles head to Detroit. Reds and Guardians. Braves meet the Mets. White Sox host the Yankees. Cubbies in St. Louis. Red Sox get the Athletics. And the Giants hosting the Brewers. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former CFLer and Grey Cup champion Rick Walters, as well as the voice of the Seattle Kraken, Everett Fitzhugh, plus stats of the day. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Say hello to Alberta's home for reeling and dealing. With Play Alberta, you can spin into the excitement of popular slots like Cash Eruption and Desert Fantasy. Experience Alberta-exclusive games and get in on the action of live dealer tables with all new elevated stakes. However you prefer to play, the fun is ready when you are. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Can't spell legacy without
Monday
Legacy Heating and Cooling's got
are
a guy
you?
who's really
And
good at fixing
welcome.
broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows
In
to
the
galas,
major-
meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Alberta, we're wild and tough and beautiful. We agree that good enough isn't good enough. And know everything that matters starts with a home and a family. At Lux, our family has been handcrafting windows and doors for this incredible place for over half a century. There's no place we'd rather be. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
We just dropped a massive payload at NISQ 4. It's time to unload some deals at the Truckload of Savings event. If you've been waiting to upgrade, we've backed up the savings with unbeatable offers on our toughest Fords. Right now, haul away exactly what you need and take advantage of massive price drops across our entire lineup, including the legendary Ford F-150 for the job site or the weekend getaway. Shop the Truckload of Savings at nisqford.ca. Nisq Ford, above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Need equipment on the job fast? Japa Equipment Rentals in Atchison has you covered. Excavators, wheel loaders, compaction equipment, and more backed by expert service. Visit japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Afternoon continues on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks as always for listening and watching the show. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where stop in at PlayAlberta.ca. Instance, lottery, live dealer, sports, casino, all in one place, including the Jason Gregor Show specials. Check it out on the left side of your page. We have the triple play today. We've got the Connor Halley special. Also, if you want to plan well ahead, if you are a believer in the Oilers, finally to end the drought and finish first in the regular season in the Pacific Division, get in some odds boost there at PlayAlberta.ca under the Jason Gregor Show. Tap 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440, where you can text us. We got lots to discuss. A big week shaping up again in the CFL as the Edmonton Elks and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will do battle in a rematch Saturday. It's the final game of the weekend. Thursday night, BC is in Winnipeg. Friday night, Montreal is in Ottawa. Saturday, Calgary at Hamilton at 1 o'clock Edmonton time. And then at 5 o'clock, it'll be the Riders and Edmonton. So you look, it is Toronto's week off. Edmonton and Montreal right now are the class of the league, both at 6-1, 4 points up on both Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. Let's be honest. Not a lot of people thought the Elks would be 6-1 this year to start the season, but full marks, man. They beaten Saskatchewan. They beaten Winnipeg. They beaten Montreal. So you got the 4 best teams in the league, and Edmonton's 3-0 against them. They're legit. You can't argue that. Now, some games their defense will win. Last game, their offense won. Other games, they just kind of won by committee. And the one big difference this year to last is the Elks' big play capability. Whether it's throwing a little screen and Rankin run 60 yards, or last game, airing it out downfield. Actually passing the ball in the air, which is good. So we're going to get former CFLer, former offensive coordinator, Rick Walters. He's going to join us now every Monday on the show. Some weeks will be in studio for an hour today. We're just going to start it off, and Rick joins us now. Rick, my man, how you doing? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Buddy, is it really bright there? What's going on? I could barely see. You're wearing a white top with like the whitest background ever.
Am I floating? Just my head is.
Yeah, it's like your head is in there. It's great. So you got some background on. It's hilarious. Anyway, as a former player and an OC, you're a guy who obviously you call plays a lot. Give me your thoughts on. I felt Edmonton really for the first time made some really good adjustments. Saskatchewan basically said, okay, we're going to try to do what BC did, but they didn't get the pressure BC got, and then they got torched downfield. What changes did they make that allowed their offense to light up Saskatchewan as often as they did on big plays?
It's a good question. They kind of used a whole bunch of different components to it. I think this was probably Jordan's Maksivich, probably best game that he's called offensively in his time here in Edmonton. You can see, especially with the way that the Elks offense has started, that there's going to be eyes in the backfield and that people are going to be looking at Rankin a whole bunch. And he did a great job, especially on first down situations of loading up the box. By loading up the box, bringing more people into the box. So receivers, fullbacks, extra linemen in. And while most people are thinking they're going to run the ball, they actually play action and went over the top. Some double moves, some post corners posts, some big over routes, big drag routes coming across. And they did a really, really good job of putting Saskatchewan's defense in a little bit of a bind. So they max protected, and then they put 3, sometimes 2 guys out in pass patterns, and they're able to connect. I think getting Mac has been a massive upgrade in terms of what that looks like. He is a true number 1 receiver. And then so if you can max protect, you can combine that with Saskatchewan's DBs having eyes in the backfield because everybody wants to account for Rankin. Then it makes for if you can get a quarterback who can hit the receiver, find different spots, and then, like I said before, they put them in a very precarious situation by you could tell that their game plan was to take away Rankin, whether it was on in the run game or in the pass plane on screens. And so when all eyes are on him, you're able to take some shots downfield. And
obviously Mac took a lot of those shots, but the guy who was targeted the most was Luther. 12 targets. He had 10 catches, and including a massive one on third down late in the fourth quarter. Rick, I know you played the position, you watch him, and you were just very few receivers just step in the league and dominate right away, right? Like once you can learn sometimes to use the waggle to your advantage or the different, depth of your routes and all those sorts of things. And what are you seeing from Luther? Like was last week just like a one-off, or do you think this is being a strong progression where this is a guy that's now going to be maybe a really good number 2?
I think they have a few number 2s in all honesty. I think they do a good job. Luther did a great job. He's He's good on his feet. He's powerful on his cuts, and so he gets in and out of his break really well. And you can see, and he's got strong hands. He does a really good job of being able to high point balls, contested catches. So he does a really, really good job in that. But what you've kind of seen though is over the last few weeks is that there's been somebody who's stepped up every game. Another guy, I think Mac has been their consistent guy, but every week it seems like somebody else is stepping up and kind of stepping into that number 2 role. Will it be Luther? It could be. But you've also seen Larry Orange step up and had some really, really good big games. You've seen what's his name, number 11, step up.
K on Julian Grant.
Julian Grant, yeah, he stepped up. He's had some good, really big games. And then obviously, if you have Rankin in the backfield, he's kind of everybody's number 1. He's the one that everybody wants to take away. But now you got some downfield shots that can make plays on go balls, make plays on digs, make plays on outs. And then it becomes, a little bit of a catch-22 for defenses as to what they're going to take away. As long as somebody can keep stepping up every game, I think it makes it a really, really good situation.
Rick Walters joins us, our new CFL analyst, talking football, all levels of football. So Rick, you played in a ton of them, and you've coached in it where you go back to back, and a lot of people say it's difficult because now it's a little bit of the game of cat and mouse, and it's like, okay, what are we going to counter? Because both defenses, especially both pass defenses, like, okay, we gotta shut this down a little bit more, no question about it. But the offense, like, obviously it's not realistic that Cody Fajardo is going to pass for 500 yards again. We know that. But Edmonton, now that's a few weeks in a row that Rankin really hasn't done much. And he is still your best player. So how can they run the ball better in your eyes?
Well, I think where they need to maybe get a little bit better run-wise is to actually spread people out a little bit. I think they bring a lot of people tight for their run game, which brings extra defensive people in. I think if they're in a little bit more spread stuff, a little more 5-wide stuff, and leave the receivers out and not try to bring them into the box. Sometimes O-linemen hate it when receivers come in because usually they're not great blockers. But so if they can get a true count on what's in the box, so whether there's 6 guys in the box or 7 guys in the box, depending on how they want to load the box, then they know where their angles are at, know what kind of scheme they can look at. So that would be probably, if I'm looking at how to get Rankin going a little bit more from a run game perspective. I think they do a really good job of bringing in the extra lineman, the fullback. But as I said before, then defenses start bringing in and matching personnel groups. I think that can help with a pass game standpoint. But I think if they were to spread it out a little bit, make it true, whether it's a light box, heavy box, and then you can kind of get a good count from your own line perspective. And then you're not bringing in extra guys and trying to figure out, well, if we got a 32 set or a 3x2 set and the number 3 receiver comes across, well, who's going to take the Sam linebacker or the strong side linebacker on the strong side? And that's really one of the ways when I'm watching a game where I can tell whether it's a really good, strong offensive coordinator or a strong offensive team is just how they're handling the extra guys that are coming into the box when you start moving people around. But like I said earlier, sometimes a lineman just like a static front, they want to see what they see and then they can kind of get after it that way.
Okay. On the other side, what did you see from Saskatchewan's offense where the Elks will need to counter what they did? Because it was really the first game all year that the defense got exploited a little bit, and a lot of it on passing plays. Not as many long passing plays comparative to what Saskatchewan gave up, but they gave up 386 yards in the air, which is way more than they had. So what did you see offensively from the Riders that's good and that the Edmonton has to take more attention to on Saturday?
I think they did a great job of I like Jackson a lot. I really do. I think he's one of their better DBs, but he's really, really aggressive.
Yeah.
And they did a really, really good job of whether it's double moving him or just taking advantage of Shaker Baker, who's a big He's a big dude. He's big in stature. I think he's about 6'2", 6'3". And they attack that. They attack press coverage. They attack. It's kind of off man where you're playing catch technique, and catch technique is where DBs kind of sit at kind of the transition zone. So right around 10, 12 yards, or they're sitting at around 6 to 8 yards. Because most breaks, like short ins or quick outs are right around 4 to 6 yards. So DBs will sit at that. And if you go past that as a receiver, they know that the next grouping of ins or outs are right around 10 to 12 yards. So they kind of sit at that.
Okay.
And so they kind of have a clock in their head. And if they see you taking a rock and throw or a quick set, they're thinking, okay, it's coming out. It's somewhere 4 to 6. If it's a 3-step, it's probably coming from the quarterback perspective. It's probably coming out 12 to 14 yards. And so they sit, and I think he's done a really, really good job all year at sitting and being aggressive on teams. And what they did with Schaefer Baker, they actually ran him on some deeper routes, some deeper concepts, some fades, some outside goes, some corner routes, and they were able to take advantage of his aggressiveness. I think Trevor's really accurate. He can pinpoint guys, especially when guys have a big miss range. So, like I said earlier, Schaefer's a big dude, and so they attack that. They attack the short side a ton.
Yeah, and because you're right, Jackson is one of their best receivers, but I felt at times his over-aggressive nature they were able to exploit. Like there's a few times when he was coming up to jam a guy and bump him, and they just went right by him, and boom. Yeah. He got beat over the top. Ty Ford mentioned to me that he felt like the one thing about the secondary as a whole was they need to be better on the 50-50 balls, man-to-man. You got to knock some down. He goes, you at least got to be 50-50. And he says, like, sure, sometimes they're going to make a great catch, but a lot of times he goes, we just didn't make enough plays. And sometimes that gets overlooked. Like, yeah, it's a great catch by the receiver, but the DB's there, and he's got to find a way to win the battle sometime.
Yeah, no, I know that as an offensive coach, you're always trying to tell your receivers that you're trying to turn 50-50 balls into 80-20 balls or 75-25 balls. And that's just a percentage that you think a good, strong receiver is able to make those contested catches in. One of the things that would be great to pull up is how they're doing against contested catches, whether it's offensively or defensively. I know that stats that the team will keep. I know when I was playing and coaching, that's one of the things you always looked at was who can win those 50-50 balls. Because if you're able to win them offensively, you're going to win more games. If you're able to win them defensively, you're going to win more games. And so I would agree with Ford that is going to be the true testament of how the Double E continue to progress is can they defensively win more balls than they give up, especially the 50-50 balls.
And I got to ask you one last one, Rick. Short yardage situation. Third and 1 should be an automatic, I think, a lot of times. So I know that, the one botch snap, there's some communication and that, the snap came too early. And then, Cody kind of said himself, he goes, yeah, I'm not sure if it was me thinking I could make a play or panicking, combination of both, and the way they pitched it and it didn't work out. But on the next one, the next series, they're third and short, and they didn't even get close, right? Like they didn't get, so when that happens and you're a yard off the ball, what's going wrong that you can't get third and short?
Well, it's funny because as I was watching the game, I was thinking the same thing, that these are two situations that lose games. There's certain plays that come up in games, and if you make those plays, you win games. If you don't make those plays, you lose those games. And they went 0 for 2 on those critical kind of plays right at the end of the game. One of the things that happens sometimes is you get into a silent count, and you don't anticipate it at certain times. Sometimes you're not practicing enough because you're not thinking, do I got to get into a silent count in I don't know, in Ottawa, maybe not in Ottawa, but in Regina, especially when it's loud, it's at the end of the game, you might, depending on how much you've practiced silent count, that could be one of the reasons why that snap came a little bit early than expected. The thing that can't happen is you can't compound, a crappy play with even worse play.
Yeah.
I know Cody's trying to make a play, but sometimes it's just best to eat the ball and make them have to drive, because once you start getting it to try to make a play, and as you saw that, the Saskatchewan defender was able to pick it up and get like an extra 20 plus yards, and that just hurts your defense in terms of the field position game. The next series that they came down when it was 3rd and 1, you're able to get off with a quarterback sneak. That really is just about being able to hunker down from an O-line perspective. That's kind of day 1, day 2 O-line stuff, and being able to wedge off the ball. Typically what you do is you try and pick an apex point, especially if it's a quarterback sneak, where you're trying to pick the apex points, whether it's the center is going to move right or to the left, depending on where you think either the weaker defender is, or maybe there's a gap in the defense, depending on how they're lining up. And you kind of just apex either on the right side or on the left side, depending on what the certain call is. And then you really got to hunker down, and you got to get guys to mash guys off the ball. Now, the hard part is that they know that as well, and they anticipate that people are just trying to wedge and trying to get to an apex, and so typically defensive linemen are trying to dive down and get underneath the offensive lineman to create a little bit of a pile, and then make it that the quarterback will have to bounce or won't have just a straight dive in one of the A gaps, whether it's to the right of the center or to the left of the center. So what you see people start to do is to move that angle or that point a little bit outside. So either a stretch left or stretch right, which gives the quarterback an opportunity to cut up, either A gap, B gap, or C gap, depending on, first one he sees. You see Stevens in Saskatchewan be really successful in terms of what that looks like. He's a heavier guy. He's a bigger guy. He doesn't get stopped too often, and a lot of times that's because he gets his head and his shoulders getting downhill. So even if he is going off tackle a little bit, he can get upfield and then being able to get that going forward. So I think the big thing that if I was looking at what Edmonton is doing from a short yardage perspective, I would consider moving my apex point a little bit outside, or at least showing that. I don't know how much stuff they've shown out of short yardage yet, and at some point you're going to have to try something a little bit different, and not just 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. We're going to quarterback sneak between the A gaps. Like, everybody kind of knows that as well. So you're going to get a little bit of issues there, regardless of how much you think you need to hunker down and get after it. The defense is just shooting everything that way. If you get a little bit more outside game, a little bit more stretch to one way or the other way, a little more off tackle, then you might be able to bust a couple through, throw a couple. Maybe it's 2nd and 1, and you're thinking, especially if you're in the plus territory, that maybe I just want to show that so that teams won't just all just hunker down and get into the A gap themselves defensively. So I would think they have to do something a little bit differently in terms of that. 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, those are great times to try and show that as well.
Awesome. Rick, we look forward to having you on, man, during the season. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jay.
Have a good one. There's Rick Walters. He is going to join us usually on Mondays, but of course it's a holiday Monday next week, so it'll be on Tuesday, and he'll be coming in studio at 3 o'clock, so we look forward to that. We'll take a quick break. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
$1 drink summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks. Ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Kickoff is coming August 1st. Elks, Rough Riders at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The prehistoric party is back, presented by Purolator Tackle Hunger. Experience family-friendly fun all game long with a dinosaur-themed contest. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
At GS Construction, people grow with the company. 50 years of experience doesn't live in a binder on a shelf. It lives in our people at every level, passed down on every site. Many of us started with a shovel in our hands and built whole careers here. The work is honest. The company's been around since 1974. So if it all sounds good to you and you want to grow with us, GS Construction is currently looking for experienced pipe layers and topmen. No shovel required. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Your weekend hotspot is at On the Rocks.
Party with Edmonton's best bands every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we got them all.
From the Barkells to Tallboy, Radioactive, Curves, the Brute Squad, Morningwood, Roxilla, Punch Buggy, and more.
Plus, the guy who keeps the party going every weekend. DJ Kenny K on the ones and twos, live.
Get ready to have a good time this weekend.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Monday afternoon rolls through on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's one-stop shop. Like to dabble in casino, live dealer, lottery, instant sports, and more. Check it out at PlayAlberta.ca, where all the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta. As it's time to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And right now, stop at McD's. You get the $5 McValue meal. Sausage McMuffin small meal, the McDouble small meal for only $5 plus tax at McDonald's. And we continue our off-season in the National Hockey League. Hey, we were talking trades earlier about the Toronto Blue Jays. There's a trade, or at least possibility of a trade that involving young Shane Wright and Everett Fitzhugh, who knows a lot about the Seattle Kraken, joins us once again. Everett, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing?
Hey, Gregor, doing well. Happy summer. I mean, what are we, 8 weeks away from some meaningful hockey news camps or whatever. So how you been, man?
Buddy, we're good. Although we're waiting for summer here because right now it's like we're in Vancouver. It's raining all the time. It's great. And not just rain, it's stormy, nuts. So hopefully we get a little sun here soon. Big news in Seattle, man. It's been an interesting offseason. You made the big offer to Jason Robertson. It didn't happen, but now there's the Shane Wright. And this talk has kind of been, quiet for a while. We'd hear it again. And now it seems like these two are on a course where he's probably going to move on. How, do you think it's to that point where both sides are like, okay, a fresh start is good? Or do you think there's a chance he could be back at camp in Seattle?
From everything that I've heard, it seems like until there is a deal in this hypothetical world that we've been living in and results in regards to Shane Wright, until there is a deal, I mean, Shane Wright's a member of this team, and everything that we've heard in the offseason, as we get set for camps and all of that stuff, Shane Wright's a part of this team. He's going to be in camp in September. He's going to be ready to go. Now, again, who knows? He could be traded. He could be whatever. But that is something that publicly, internally hasn't been discussed, hasn't been talked about. I haven't heard anything. I know, the agent came out and said that him and Jason have worked on a deal and are agreeing to a deal. I haven't heard that at all. But as far as I'm concerned, and myself and all my colleagues here, we're fully expecting Shane. I mean, if he's in Seattle, he's going to be a member of the Kraken. He's going to work. He's going to show up like he has done every day. I know it's been a very disappointing and maybe frustrating at times tenure for him, but there is no coup to get him out of here until something happens. As far as I'm concerned, he's a member of this team.
Okay. When you look at him, and he's a young player still, right? I think a lot of times people, there's unrealistic expectations. Now, sometimes I think organizations would do better off just keeping a guy in the minors for one more year, but that's just me on that front. And right in his, that year he was in Seattle, then he was in the AHL, then he was in the OHL after the World Juniors and stuff. And he's not the first guy that's happened to. But then he went down and basically played the majority of the 24 season in the minors. Had a really good year. Was almost a point a game player in a hard league. And then he's had 2 years where he's basically been an NHLer since then. And 2 years ago in 25, everyone's like, okay, here's Shane Wright, 44 points. Like, now this guy's going to become a 55-point player, etc. But it doesn't always work that way, Everett, as you know. So when you look at Shane Wright in 25 to Shane Wright in 26, what led to the step back in production for him?
It's a couple of things. I mean, listen, we've been talking about Shane Wright. People forget, you're right. He's only 23, right? I mean, he's 24. He's not an old guy. I mean, but we've been talking about Shane Wright since he was 14 years old, and he had exceptional status and all that. So it sometimes seems like Shane Wright is this 10, 12-year NHL vet because we've been talking about him for so long. But, I think a couple of factors went into the 25 versus 26 version of Shane Wright. I think obviously the coaching change. Anytime that you bring in a new coach, a new system, it takes some time to get used to it. Shane was very, very used to Dan Bilesma, having played under him in Coachella Valley for that year. And then up here in Seattle, you bring in Lane Lambert, who is a lot more defensive in his approach, but still the Kraken up until the deadline had success with that style. And then I think, it's the fact that Shane Wright, and there's a number of reasons as to why this is. He hasn't been able to really find his spot consistently in the lineup. We've seen him play up. We've seen him play down. He's moved to the wing a little bit. He's been in the middle. He's had some power play time. He's had some PK time. Trying to really find his role and where he fits on a nightly basis. I mean, I don't think he's played, 50 games at the same spot consistently, right? So I think that's part of it. I also think that, there's a learning curve in this league, as we all know. And the reason why you saw Shane go down full time a couple of years ago was because there was a few things that this team wanted him to work on, and he did that. He came back up, he showed it, but for whatever reason this past season he wasn't able to really find his spot consistently. He was moving up and down all over the lineup. He had different line mates. There were some injury problems with the Kraken this year, so luckily he was healthy, but that did sometimes adjust who his wingers were, where he played, so that wasn't helpful as well. So I think consistency may be the big reason why there was a bit of that drop off, and consistency in a lot of different areas as to why there was that drop off.
Everett Fitzhugh joins us, voice of the Kraken, as we talk a little Seattle Kraken. Shane Wright, trade rumors have been out there for a while. Also, we know that they went out and they were trying to be aggressive. I'll say this: Jason Botterill's come in. I don't think there's any doubt for me that he's tried to have a different approach as his predecessor, be more aggressive, right? I think under Ron Francis, and I think the organization by moving on felt like, okay, like we got to change. We need to be more aggressive. And we've heard that, like Seattle's been in on lots of trade situations and stuff, and hasn't worked yet, but I don't think that means they're going to stop. It's no different than Carolina. They didn't get the first guys right away, and then they just kept moving. So when you look at Botterill and just overall here, like, should we be expecting Seattle here to be like a real mover and shaker over the next few years? Like, it's not just going to be a one swing, that they're going to take some mighty big swings here in the coming future?
I would absolutely say that. I mean, that for me is the type of GM that he wants to be. And listen, we heard all spring long, the last couple of years, we're going to be aggressive. We're setting up for this prolific offseason. We're going to make seismic changes. And I've always told people this: it takes two to tango. And if you're Jason Botterill, you offer 15/8 to Jason Robertson. You offer 13.5, 14 by, 3 or 4 to Artemi Panarin. Artemi Panarin only wanted to go to LA. That was his only team, right? Sorry, we're not LA. Can't help you there. Jason Robertson turned down deals from St. Louis, turned down deals from Ottawa, other teams out there as well. So this narrative that Seattle is a place that players don't want to go, well, I mean, by that logic, no one wants to go to St. Louis and no one wants to go to Ottawa too, right? If we're having that conversation, obviously that's not the case. I think Jason Robertson, the act of being aggressive and taking those big swings, that is important. You can't force a guy, you can't force a team or a player to come to a team, right? He's got to want to come to that team. And I understand Jason Robertson didn't feel like Seattle was in his future. That's fine. But the fact that Jason Botterill took those swings, the fact that he showed the rest of the league, hey, we're open for business. The bank is open. We're willing to spend. We're willing to do what it takes to improve this team in pretty big areas. I think you're going to see a lot more of that moving forward. This wasn't a one and done. It wouldn't surprise me to see potential trades, potential moves between now and October 1st when this team opens up down the road from you in Calgary. I can see a world where Jason Botterill continues to do this, to make these big swings, to continue to improve this team.
And offensively is where you got to take the swings, right? Like that's kind of captain obvious. They just, I know the 23 season was great, and you know what, it was the perfect storm. Their fourth line was maybe the most productive fourth line in the last 2 decades that year. But it's going out to find the hardest thing to find, which is a big time offensive player.
It is. And I've talked about that here locally in Seattle. You know, a lot of people want to point to Edmonton and McDavid. They want to point to, you know, McKinnon in Colorado and Celebrini in San Jose. And I've said, listen, yes, those guys are you know, organizational shifting franchise players, but in order to get those teams, you have to go, or those players rather, you have to go through a world of bad. I mean, I've told you multiple times, I grew up as an Edmonton Oilers fan, and I remember the decade of darkness. I remember losing to Carolina in 06 and then not making the playoffs again until 17 when they lost to Anaheim, and then you had those 4-5 first overall pick. Like, I remember that time. You have to go through a lot of suck to get a McDavid, a Celebrini, a Bedard. And it's something that I don't think a lot of folks really understand. And I want you to roll with me here for a little bit. Obviously, this team hasn't had the success in finding that offensive player, that offensive dynamo that this team needs. But if you look at how they played throughout the course of the season before the deadline, the first 65, 70-ish games of the year, this Kraken team was in a playoff spot. A number of people you talk to around the league say the Kraken play like a playoff team. There were a ton of 2-1, 3-2 games, a lot of hardworking, defensively structured games, Lane Lambert's structure, given the personnel that he has. I would be willing to argue that this team was a playoff team. They didn't make the playoffs. They played like you have to play in order to have success in the playoffs, but they weren't able to get there, which obviously the season's 82, now 84 games and not 60 or 65. But I do think you're right. Offense, you can't play a 3-2, 2-1 style of play for 84 games of the year and expect to come out on the other side in good shape. And the Kraken unfortunately saw that down the stretch. They got a boost from Bobby McMahon, who is now back on a long ticket. That's going to be big for Seattle, but you need that bona fide top 6, definitely top 6, but preferably top 5 bona fide player that you can look at 25 to 30 other teams around the NHL and say, yep, this guy is a top line guy, regardless of what team he's on.
And lastly, I know you're short for time, but Matty Beniers, you know, Capo, Caco, like they went out and got some, you know, some higher end picks. They do have Berkeley Catton coming. Where do you do they got a guy, if you had to pick, like, who's the breakout guy that could potentially be the offensive guy moving forward for Seattle?
You know, I think this year, Matty Beniers took a massive step in his defensive game. We saw the goals come back a little bit. I would have liked to have seen him score more goals, but you watch his game defensively, the responsibility that he has on the ice. I mean, I think he's turned into, definitely in the Pacific Division, one of the better two-way centermen that we have in our division. I think he's a player that is consistently trying to work and put on weight, add a bit more toughness to his game, add a little bit more of that sandpaper to his game. He's got all the talent, all the skill in the world, great hands. I think he wants to add that more physical element to his game. I think Berkeley Catton, I mean, last year, Berkeley Catton was a player that you could see every night. His confidence was continuing to grow. He rarely made the same mistake twice, and if he did make it a third time. He learned quickly. I think if he can work on his confidence and his confidence in himself, and it's easy for a young guy to see Eberle on his wing, Matty Beniers over here. I have to defer to these guys. And Jared McCann, Brandon Montour, all these players told him, hey, listen, you've got the skill. You're going to be that guy. Take the shot, make the move, do what got you here. I think once he gets that in his mind consistently, like, hey, listen, I can be a little bit selfish and it's going to be okay. I could see Berkeley Catton breaking out in a big way offensively this year for Seattle.
Awesome. Everett, as always, buddy, we appreciate it, man. Have yourself a great day. We'll stay in touch.
All right, Gregor. Thanks for the time, guys. Always appreciate it.
You betcha. There's Everett Fitzhughes joining us from Seattle. So the Kraken, Shane Wright, another name to watch for in the month of August, potentially on the move. We'll see. Quick break. We'll come back. We're going to get to some stats of the day. Also, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers The Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hurry in for hot summer savings at Wolf GMC Buick. Take advantage of 0% purchase financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 pickups. 0% purchase financing for 36 months on select new 2026 Sierra 2500 Denali and Denali Ultimate models. Plus, huge cash savings on GMC Sierra heavy-duty trucks. And ask about the $1,000 truck trade-in bonus and low-rate lease offers. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
Everything is going to be okay. If your debt has you feeling like you're in a free fall, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal allows you to eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we'll tackle your debt.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
For all your welding supplies, think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their readily stocked storefront carries a wide variety of welding glasses, cylinder rentals, plus welding rod, wire, and consumables. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Calling all pizza lovers at Papa John's, you can get a large one-topping pizza for only $14.99 using promo code L1499 at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Monday afternoon continues on. The Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, if you do gamble, use your GameSense, GameSenseAB.ca, and stay within your limits. Let's get to Connor McDavid right now and some cons. Let me know how it cues it up. Connor McDavid, of course, his teammate Zach Hyman has his annual golf tournament, and you had McDavid and Draisaitl and a host of many other Edmonton Oilers at this golf tournament earlier today. And our good buddy of the show, Dave A. McCarthy, was there, and he sent us McDavid's and clip. So first of all, he was asked about Zach Hyman's golf game.
Yeah, I expected great things. It's not good to begin with. It's the whole season last year, not golfing, so see how it goes. Who's the golfer to beat today? That's the question. Some good golfers here. I don't know. Good guys.
What's this off-season been like for you, Connor? It's been a while since you've had a bit of a longer run. Obviously, you'd prefer not, but what sort of benefits maybe do you see in it?
Well, obviously, getting a chance to train and things. You know, it's been a while since we've been able to do that. Just the past couple of summers have just been kind of maintenance and getting back to baseline. So, chance to work on some things and get healthy and rested.
Connor, what have you made of your team's off-season with the new coach and the additions and the subtractions?
Yeah, it's exciting. First and foremost, obviously disappointing to lose someone like Darnell and the rest of the guys, but it's part of the business, unfortunately. She's been hard to really put into words how much she's been to not only me but the whole group and everybody in Edmonton. So extremely disappointed to see that happen, but at the same time, really excited about some additions, new coach, some good players. It's an exciting time.
Connor, once you got your questions answered with Babs, how exciting is it to move forward, given that you look at his track record internationally in the NHL? I mean, he's a proven winner.
Yeah, I think that's what obviously we see. We see a great opportunity to be coached by someone who's coached in every single big game there is to coach him, who's been successful, won cups, gold medals, you name it, he's done it. It's a great opportunity for us players to be coached by somebody like him and help him. Where our group's at and what we're looking for is the perfect fit. he's not going to need to come in and find who he is as a coach or find himself as a, in those situations. He knows what he's about as a coach, and it's our job as players to be ready to go.
You bring in the Stanley Cup winning goalie as well. What stands out about Freddie? What sort of fits you see there?
Yeah, he was really solid, obviously. It's really exciting, even bringing in Levi too. Having kind of the 3 goalie system. I think it's Carolina's obviously done that for a little bit, and obviously had success. And, injuries happen, and you always need to have somebody ready to go in there, and we'll always have that.
You're a Toronto kid, and you've gone through what Gavin's going through right now. What have you made of him and what he has in store ahead this season?
I don't know much about him. I haven't paid attention all that much, to be honest. Seems like he's a good kid. His hands full in Toronto, but seems like he's prepared for a good support system here too. See Austin. Lots of support around.
How inspiring was it to watch Canada's World Cup run this summer?
It's fantastic. It was such a fun tournament. Amazing to see Canada do so well. And I was at that first game, and just to feel the national pride as a fan, something special. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed following them. So it was inspiring. Thank you.
What were they standing beside, Cons? In that was that like the groundskeeper thing? What the hell was it? Like a big helicopter? We'll have to ask Dave tomorrow on the show. What was surrounding them there?
It's McCarthy's car, I think.
Yeah. It's some interesting comments there from McDavid as far as I know this guy's won everything as a coach. Sure. Like a decade ago. I'm not a big believer in, well, if you won 15 years ago, that somehow that necessarily correlates. Completely different team, completely different group of players. That's one he has lots of success. You want to say he's a really smart coach? Great. You kind of lose me a bit when you talk about the winning factor. Well, hasn't won a playoff series in 13 years. Now, different team. So do I think he can win a playoff series in Edmonton? Damn right. Like I've said all along, I look at the Oilers lineup and I still put them as a top 8 team in the NHL. Edmonton and Vegas are the 2 best teams in the Pacific Division. Now, injuries and other things can change that, but on paper, that's how they are. Now you throw in the fact, and I think it's probably the most important part of the Oilers offseason, health. All right, Connor McDavid and all the other players will come to training camp mentally and physically refreshed. And oh, by the way, highly motivated again. Trust me, they're disappointed in how last season went for a variety of reasons. Right? And I look at what they need to do as a group. I don't think there needs to be massive change because this team before has shown they can play committed defense when they choose to commit to it. But ultimately, now, maybe they need a coach who needs to be more assertive, but guess what? Chris Knobloch, when he came in, he wasn't a head coach with a resume that was filled with being a real hard ass kicker. And what happened? They went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. They had the most points in the NHL under Chris Knobloch. Top 5 in goals for, top 5 in goals against. So I don't know. I guess, you say whatever you need to say and it's changing. And, I thought Knobloch, and I've said it before, I thought Knobloch, like the team, had a down year last year. I don't think he was as good as a coach, but I also don't think it was to the point where he couldn't have learned from it. Right? A lot of times, unfortunately, the best lessons we learn come from mistakes over success at times. Right? Why didn't it work out? What did I do different? What did I do wrong? Right? Relied on your best players too much. Lots of different reasons. Right? And hey, they want to get in the playoffs, so I get it. And then in the playoffs, could they have won if they had stayed healthy? Probably. I firmly believe if their 4 centers are healthy, they win that series. Now, whether they beat in Vegas, I have no idea. But so Babcock inherits a great situation, right? The Oilers coaching staff has more. It's not just Babcock. You're bringing in DJ Smith, who's now the assistant coach, who's been an NHL head coach, So now you have lots of experience on your coaching staff. That's something that I do think Knobloch, if we talk about a mistake he made when they replaced Gallitson, they didn't really replace him. Right? Like you brought in McFarland, but then you lost Coffey and you didn't replace him. You just promoted Mark Stewart. So I do think they lost some experience there. And Gallitson was on the coaching staff. Gallitson was vocal when need be. And I think you can't, I don't blame coaches if that's who their personality is. You have a bunch of quieter guys naturally. Well, it's going to be quieter. Okay. Like DJ Smith, he will be I think I would argue of all the offseason moves for the Oilers, I think the DJ Smith hiring after they announced Babcock was a head coach was the most important, because he comes in, he's vocal, he's a funny guy, he will keep things light, but he also now has a decade of coaching experience. And I talked to DJ about it. When he first was an assistant coach with Babcock, he wasn't really in the position to speak out as much as he could on a lot of situations. Well, that's changed now. And I think he'll be there. So if Babcock suddenly starts reverting to who he is naturally as a coach, Smith will be like, pump the brakes. Let's go in reverse here. Let's get back on the proper track. I could definitely see that happening. So we'll see where it goes. Coming up in the next hour of the show, we'll get to our roundtable with Declan and Connor. We also we'll hear maybe from Leon Draisaitl. Also, we'll get to some stats of the day, 5 questions and more. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We got Spec, also Gavin Meyer, D lineman from the Elks, will join us here on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to Connor Halley. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Go Auto. If you're looking for a vehicle, GoAuto.ca is your one-stop shop. They have over 17,000 vehicles to choose from, 73 different locations. Find one near you, GoAuto.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Montreal Canadiens acquired a winger, Sasha Pasajov, from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for center Sean Farrell. Both players in the deal currently restricted free agents in need of new contracts. Former CFL most outstanding defensive player Lorenzo Malden has decided to unretire and join the BC Lions. Malden, 33, led the CFL in sacks in 2022 with 17 and had previously signed a one-day contract to retire with the Red Blacks in March after a stint with the USFL's Louisville Kings. Major League Baseball, Jays in Washington, first pitch 4:45. We'll join that game in progress here on Sports 1440 on the AM feed following the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, you got the Pirates and Diamondbacks. Orioles head to Detroit. Mets host the Braves. Yankees get the White Sox. Cubbies and Cards. Angels host the Astros, while the Red Sox head to Sacramento to take on the Athletics. Earlier today, Rangers knocked off the Mariners by a score of 7-3. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to the stats of the day, hear the roundtable, and ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Say hello to Alberta's home for reeling and dealing. With Play Alberta, you can spin into the excitement of popular slots like Cash Eruption and Desert Fantasy. Experience Alberta-exclusive games and get in on the action of live dealer tables with all new elevated stakes. However you prefer to play, the fun is ready when you are. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 air conditioning install company for lovers, because it's been a while since you kissed her tender lips or felt his warm embrace, because it's too hot for love. But you can rekindle that fire with AC from Legacy with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Your legacy of love will grow stronger, because with AC from Legacy, it's never too hot for love.
Are you looking for safe and reliable transportation solutions for your wedding, corporate retreat, or golf trip? Look no further than Silent Rides, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer 3 different sizes of units to cater to your needs, and we provide first-class service at affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Are you a skilled laborer? All Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience? All Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience searching for work, search All Star Construction on Indeed.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Okay, new strategy. I'll just live in the freezer till October. It's spacious in here. It's spacious.
There's a better way to survive the coming AC season. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. We offer convenient financing options and fast appointments so you can enjoy your entire home, not just the freezer.
Now I can leave the frozen peas where they belong.
Book now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
We were at a party with some friends. I was having fun. He wasn't. He gave me a look, grabbed my arm, squeezed, then yanked me towards
the front door. Was under his watch 24/7. He didn't install a doorbell camera for safety. He did it to control me, to track me, to keep me at home right where he
got inches from my face and started yelling, asking, "Why do you smile at other guys so much?" I rubbed the marks on my arm. I still felt his fingers digging
into my bank accounts. He changed my passwords, locked my cards, said I couldn't be trusted with my own money. It hurt.
More than you can imagine.
Tech abuse is real abuse. If you or someone you know is using technology to harm or control, change is possible. Learn how to end the violence at alberta.ca/endgbv. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips, we fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We roll through Tuesday afternoon. Another storm come and gone today. I hope you're doing all right. My goodness, the summer of storm. I don't know what else. Wet summer, flooding basement summer, whatever you want to call it. It's not ideal. So we'll hopefully August will have more heat for sure. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. There's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Now, let's get to the roundtable brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can stay on top of your savings with Action. Residential, commercial, solar, commercial building owners. If you install solar, you can qualify for up to 30% federal tax credit plus accelerated capital cost allowance benefits. Learn more at actionelectrical.net. As we welcome in, and I think, Declan, you are up first this afternoon.
All right. I've been thinking about this one a lot. Nice little fun thought exercise. If I'm looking at the 5 leagues we cover here in North America, and I am stamping one team to not win a championship in the next 5 years, and I might actually even expand it for this team, I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets. I thought about Vancouver. I thought about the New York Jets. But when I look at this Brooklyn Nets team, who they have running the front office, and Sean Marks, that roster they have put together, I don't think there is a team in the NHL, MLB, NFL, CFL, or NBA that I would not pick to win a championship instead of them.
Whew. There's a lot of teams to look at. I mean, I'll just go looking around the NFL, and if I was trying to get into it here, there's a few teams that come to mind. Like I think the Miami Dolphins in the next 5 years have absolutely no chance. One, they're not going to.
The NFL has so much more parity, though.
They're not going to get past the Bills. They're not going to get past the New England Patriots. They don't have a quarterback. They've got issues throughout that team. You're right. There is parity, and you can pay money and bring in a lot of players and turn things around rather quickly. But they're not going to get through Mahomes, and they're not going to get through. There's a lot of teams I think in the next 5 years that are solidly placed in front of them. If I look in the NHL, I guess it's all perspective and how much you really believe or don't believe about a team. I don't think Vancouver Canucks are. I think they're a long way from being a team that even sniffs the playoffs, let alone getting back into it. I think there's some teams out east that are in a very similar situation. I'm not going to knock your knowledge on the Brooklyn Nets and the NBA definitely because I know you know this sort of thing. I would just say I'd probably have them kind of in that all category of, no chance the next 5 years. And if you want to take it further, I think I'd be comfortable with some of those NFL teams as well because I just don't think they're going to have the guy. Even if you are going to get a quarterback this year, next year, how many quarterbacks win in their first 5 years? Well, Mahomes did it. I guess Brady. There's a few out there, but for a lot of times, it takes a lot before you kind of get to that point in your career if you're even going to get a chance to start in the first season. So I would just think that I think there's a lot of teams you could couple into it. Maybe Brooklyn is the top.
I was going to say stamp one. Like if you had to stamp one.
Vancouver Canucks.
Okay.
See what they do with Pettersson here as well.
Okay. So if I had to stamp a team not to win, buddy, I might run out of ink. There's a lot of teams. The Los Angeles Angels. They've had Mike Trout. They've had one of the best baseball players. They had Shohei Ohtani. They couldn't do jack squat. So they would probably be at the top of my list just because the organization doesn't, even with great players, they haven't even come remotely close. They don't have a sniff. So they would be up on my list. The Vancouver Canucks, the NHL it takes a long time to rebuild. That's just a fact. I've written articles on it. I've studied it. Trust me. The Vancouver Canucks, they don't have a hope. Okay, they're not close to be in there. So I would have the Canucks. Brooklyn's a good pick because I'm not even sure they're the worst team in the NBA. So the Washington Wizards have been horrible for a long, long time. The Sacramento Kings horrible. So yeah, like there's some organization, and trust me, I've covered a team that when they're in the middle of, they're not close. Like in 2011 and 12, the Oilers aren't close. I know they had the Ralph Kruger's year, and the Oilers had 30 good games, and then they just fell. And their 30 good games had them in 88th place, right? And then reality came in, and they were brutal. What did they go 1-10 in after I think in the last quarter of the season, and they were in 8th place, and then they went 1-9 in their next 10 games. Now you know what? They won that last game of the year, and I think Yakupov had a hat trick, and everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to be great. He scored 5 goals. There's 6 goals in his last 3 games of the season to get to 17. And obviously that was a little bit of an aberration for sure. So if I had to pick somebody, though, I am picking the Angels all day. They couldn't win with 2 of the best players in sports. They're not winning now.
Good one, Deck. I'll bring it back here to the Edmonton Oilers and just looking at Isaac Howard, a guy who I know, Gregor, you brought it up in the YouTube chat there. How many games is he going to play this year? I'm looking at him as the player, and I like him, as a prospect of future. I like the shot. There's a lot of things. I like his confidence. There's things I like about him. But I'm a little bit worried about year 2. Like I'm not as sold this year that he's going to have the Matt Savoy jump where he becomes an everyday NHL player. Yes, the shot, you love the upside, but can he do the little things that Savoy did? Is he going to get the opportunity to get out there on the PK? I'm tempering my expectations this year for a second-year player who is going to a team that I think has very high expectations. And Mike Babcock, we know. I mean, this guy's going to want to get a lot out of his guys. I don't think he's an everyday player this year in the NHL. What do you guys think?
I couldn't agree more. on the YouTube chat at Sports 1440 AM, by the way. I said 58 games. Jason talked me out of him being his only role to success in the NHL being a top 6 player. I know Donovan brought that one up a little bit, and Jason pushed back on it and talked me out of it a little bit. But I agree. I think, like, I'm not going to say 60 games is his max or anything like that. We got to see how everything plays out. But to shorten this one up, I don't see him as an everyday player either.
Yeah, and I don't want it to sound like I'm saying he has no future. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a lot of people I've seen that are very amped up about him, very high expectations, and I think you just got to temper it for year 2 as a pro.
I agree. I'm nowhere near as bullish on the player as others.
I think it's fair to have a tempered expectation. I agree. He's a different player than Matt Savoy. Matt Savoy killed the most minutes of any order forward in the penalty kill last year. I can tell you guaranteed that Howard won't be doing that. But I think Howard's a better pure shooter than Matt Savoy is, and this team needs a finisher. And right now, it's not like there's a long list of guys ahead of him. Now, if they sign Tarasenko, I'm not sure he'll play 40 games. So that to me is the big one. He's going to get it. I still think he'll get an opportunity. The Oilers have a boatload of cap space, and they can accrue some cap space. Now, they're not going to accrue as much as everybody I see projecting to, because somebody's going to get hurt for a week or two that'll go on IR, and then they'll call someone else up, and so that'll lead into some of their cap space. But I think Isaac Howard, he's older than Savoy was, right? He just had a really good year in the AHL after a really good year in college. His last few years have trended. Goes to college, Hobie Baker. Goes to the AHL, half a game guy, which is 24 goals in 47 games is good. And he luckily got more NHL playing time than Matt Savoy. He will have the whole summer knowing the areas of his game that he needs to work on and improve. And so I don't have high expectation points-wise, but I think he'll play 70 games.
Now, you mentioned Tarasenko there.
Yeah.
Anything to that? Anything you heard?
Last I heard, I thought it was, I got the very standard, you know what, we'll look at everything. This is a time now where lots of teams, they take a little bit of downtime. You just like in any job, like you need some downtime. Many of you are probably going on holidays now, or maybe your boss is on holidays. It happens. But not like, you never fully go away, but it's not like, they need Tarasenko. Like, oh my God, if they don't have Tarasenko, they're not going to be able to compete, right? So I'm lukewarm, I guess, on the acquisition of Tarasenko, but B, how high of interest it is. Now, if it's 1.5 million, guys, I think it's a conversation. But if it's 3 million, I don't think they want to eat up 75% of their cap space on an older guy who's a good player. Now, where Tarasenko has going for him was he produced a lot of his numbers at 5-on-5 last year, right? And this guy for a long time was a really good shooter, like scored 40 goals almost for fun in St. Louis, right? He's won a Stanley Cup, and I know that there is value in that, no question, right? And he was a pretty significant player on that Blues team when they won. Right, he also won with Florida 2 years ago, right, on the 24 team, but more of a lower role, but still, right, decent production at that point. I don't know, man. He's going to be 35 on a Roslovic type deal. Yes. Anything else? I don't know if that's the direction I would go personally, right? Because the risk is when's the downturn coming? Right? Like, if I'm Edmonton, I'd probably be, let someone else sign him for a 1-year deal. And if he's still going great at the deadline, we can acquire him or somebody similar, right? Because what if you sign him and the downturn comes earlier than you think? Now what? So that's where I'm at on Tarasenko. I'm a little hesitant to just like his 23 goals last year. That was the most goals he'd scored in a few years, right? So that's my concern. Now, the 1 year when he won the Cup between Ottawa and Florida, he did have 55 points. So in 2024, so still a good productive player, but I don't know. I'd rather start the season and let the young guys gain some experience, see some opportunity, because either way, I'm going to add someone at the deadline because I don't think the wingers that they have now is the right mix of what you'd want in the playoffs. I'll say that. I still think they're going to look to add a different type of winger, but I'd rather aim higher and get a bigger score if I could. So that's where I come up.
Yeah, he'll be 35 once the playoffs roll around. So I get it. Yeah, he had the down year in Detroit 2 years ago. Only the 11 goals. The year before that was at 23. He had 23 last year. No doubt about you'd like to add that guy who's 2 Stanley Cups, Gregor. I would look at that, but I do like that idea of potentially doing it closer to the cap or to the trade deadline. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm hesitant on the need to have to. It's almost like there's people out there that are just bad money managers. Oh, I got a little extra money in my bank this month. Oh, let's just go spend it. Like the Oilers have been, barely, like there was games they couldn't even dress all the guys they wanted to because cap implications. Why not go the other way? You still have all your best players signed. That's the advantage for Edmonton. It's not like they lost one of their best players in the offseason. They still got McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard and Hyman and Ekholm. Like they got their key guys. Like Darnell Nurse is a little bit of a loss. I get it. But and they'll lose them not so much but I'm talking more offensive minded, right? I've said it for years. Scoring isn't the Oilers' problem. Let's see if they can show, which they've done before, that they can defend for an extended period of time. Because when they do, they have more success. Hey, Gregor, what about Voronkov? Well, I know every name in Columbus is getting talked about. I'm telling you right now, I would have a lot of time for Voronkov. Only because I just think he's still he's a massive, huge guy, right? Now 2 years ago was his basically the same as Tarasenko, right? 47 points. And then last year dipped back down. It was battling injuries a bit, but if I'm Columbus, why am I trading this guy? That's my question here. I know right now the vultures are circling in Columbus. I get it. But I could see Columbus saying, you know what? Let's kind of pump the brakes here. Let's see. Voronkov's he's an RFA next year, I'm pretty sure. So, all right. But if you did acquire him, you're going to have to give up something. He's a young player who is proven, who's massive. There's not a lot of guys like him. His contract's $4 million, 4.1. So we'll see. Quick break. When we come back, we'll get to the oil report, and we got 5 questions, Spectre, and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll also talk a little Elks.
At Papa John's, we know it's not just a pizza. It's a family gathering, a happy birthday, a special celebration, or just a sigh of relief at the end of a busy day. For a limited time, get large one-topping pizzas for only $14.99 each on original, thin, or New York-style crust. Use promo code L1499 at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvancelliot.com.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century. And we're just getting started. Check us out at Cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
School's almost out, and road trip season is just around the corner. But if your brakes sound like they're grinding harder than a hockey fourth liner, it might be time to visit Napa Auto Parts. Napa has all the quality parts, tools, and know-how to help keep your vehicle running smoothly and road ready. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Ewell. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pot lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at ewell.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. Ewell.ca, your partners in power.
The Jason Gregor Show on Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports. It's Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only all-in-one play experience. Casinos, sports, and lottery. One account, one wallet, one app. Here's Jason Gregor.
426, welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. $10 million up for grabs in the Lotto Max. Get your tickets tomorrow. Tonight. It's for tomorrow's draw at PlayAlberta.ca. We got lots of other texts to get to on the orders and the Elks. We'll get to our oil report brought to you by Go Auto. If you're looking for a vehicle, stop right now. GoAuto.ca, where you can peruse through 17,000 different new and used vehicles, and we'll find one for you. 73 different locations. GoAuto.ca. Hey, Greggs, you think there's anything to the rumor about re-signing Evander Kane from Rob? Ooh, I don't know, man. Actually, I haven't really seen that anywhere. Like I would be surprised. I'm not sure at this stage. Like, being there, done that with Evander Kane. You got to remember, he played his 1,000th game in Vancouver, and then the organization was just like, okay, you can take off. No, we don't need to be around you. Like, you wear out your welcome in enough places. Somebody looks and says, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I'm not sure it is. I would be rather surprised. Now, could Evander Kane come here and play well? Yeah, maybe. The thing about Evander Kane is, and so if I'm a team that's talking to him, I'd probably say, let's do and whether, I don't even know if it's legal or not. I don't know what the rules is on this. I know when you trade a player, you can get a physical. But if you wanted to sign a player and say, hey, we want you to do a physical first, you probably could. I don't want to see where he's at conditioning wise. That would be my number one thing, right? But he doesn't kill penalties, so he's not on the power play. I'm not sure. I don't think he's a top 6 forward anymore. So bang and crash up and down the wing. Okay. Is he willing to do that? Does he want to play? Can he accept a lesser role and not be a distraction? I don't know the answer to the question. I don't know if I'd want to take the wrist though at this stage. So that's where I'd come out on Evander Kane. So we'll see how it goes. Hey boys, I'm joining a few last in the show as I bail water from my basement. Does 1440 have any restoration companies I can deal with? Get a special rate? Summer's nuts from Aaron. Whew. You know what, Aaron? I was actually at the Skyline golf tournament on Thursday, and there's tons of restoration companies there. And man, I was one of the guys I was golfing with. There's like backlog right now. Like it's crazy. There's so many people that are dealing with the same issues as you. But yeah, there's some. There's definitely a few out there. None that are partners with us specifically yet, though. But had some conversations because, man, like it's listening to. It's obviously not a world I live in at all. But it was fascinating. Just I'm always intrigued to learn about, like, there's so many different businesses and operations out there and how they do things and kind of like everybody has trends within their own workplace. But man, like obviously no one's ever seen anything like this. Never had this much rain ever. And it just doesn't seem to stop. Like even today again, it was like when it comes down right now, that's the thing. Like I don't recall like just the amount of rain that you're getting sometimes in 20 minutes or an hour. Like it's just wild. And it just keeps coming. Like even today, I was at Elks practice stand. There was a little bit of a drizzle. And I was interviewing JC Sherritt, and we were at Clark Park. And then so I moved under where the stairs are. I'm like, it's starting to rain a little bit. And then all of a sudden, man, it just came down and people are out there just getting poured on. And JC's like, hey, we're pretty smart to be under here. I'm like, yeah, I think so too. So it was it's good. But it is, yeah, man. There's a lot of people, Aaron. I hope it's not too much damage in the basement. I've lived that, man, in our house, 65 Apache Crest in Leduc. God, if someone lives there now, I wonder if it's still just a cesspool of any time it would get wet. It was awful, absolutely awful. And that's the worst, man. It's the worst. Hey guys, I don't remember rain like this, and I've also lived in Vancouver from Cat Dad. Well, I know June was the wettest month ever in Alberta. I'd be curious because it's not like July slowing down here by any stretch. And it just seems like, I don't know what it is, but like if you had a real big rain on a Wednesday, I don't know why, it just seems to hit different when it's always on a Saturday. Right? Like, I don't know, like for festivals and a lot of different events, I know that definitely comes into play. So, hey, I'd prefer if it slowed down the rain, but maybe mix in a weekday one. Just a thought. Keep the Saturdays for us. Want some time off. That would be pretty good. We'll see. Now, Cons, is Drysaddle's audio better? Do you want to listen to it? Like, is there golf machines all around him, or is his a little bit quieter? Check it out and let me know the background on that one, because I don't know if I want to play it if it's similar to McDavid's, because it was pretty tough to hear. So there we go. Hey, Gregor, what about a guy like Tolvanen? Still available, fits a younger mold and decent on the defensive side of the puck from Luke. I don't like. He comes in as a question mark for me. And I don't know if like is going after a question mark the idea for the Oilers. Like I'm not sold that he fits what you need, to be honest. I know he had like in Seattle he had 23 goals. It's pretty damn good on that team. And he is what? He's 27. Like, I don't know. Like, you could do it. I'm not sure if he brings what you need. Like, look at the third line. So is Tolvanen good? Because if you've signed him, then if let's say, okay, Howard's out, so then Tolvanen's going to play in a pure defensive role with Dickinson and Kapanen? Nah, I don't know. Me personally, I don't know if I see a fit there. Cons? You see a fit at all with the Eli Tolvanen? Like, I'm just not sure what he does that's going to help the Oilers.
Yeah, I would probably come out of it on a similar vein as you. I mean, I kind of like what they have, and if I'm going shopping, I kind of want to go for, a bigger name, a little more proven down the stretch here. I do want to give players that they have an opportunity as well, like Ike Howard, Matthew Savoy, those guys, give them increased opportunities, give them a chance to see what they can do in that role. And then when you get to a further point down the season, maybe you look to make adjustments if it's not quite where you need it to be. Or maybe you want to add someone, little playoff experience, maybe it's a bigger body or something like that. Maybe at that point, but right now I kind of like how I see this roster, and you're hoping that the guys pan out and there's the upside that you'd like to see. the Draisaitl clip, there is golf carts in the background about a minute and a half in. So
Okay, well, we'll try it and we'll see. Now, Tolvanen, the one thing Tolvanen added to his game last year was he became a penalty killer, right? Now, he averaged over a minute a game, penalty kill, so it wasn't at the high end, but it was there. However, he was a penalty killer on the second worst penalty killing team in the NHL in Seattle. Right? It's kind of like a guy who's a second line player on the worst team in the league. Are you going to be a second line player on a top 8 team? So, yeah, Eli Tolvanen to me is a pass. I would not be doing it at all. Here is Leon Draisaitl at the Zach Hyman Golf Tournament today. And just asked, first of all, what's he enjoyed about it, favorite part of being at Hyman's tournament?
Watching Hymo golf. Sorry. I think that's the best part about the whole thing. No, I think it's obviously a great event by the Hyman family, and they do a lot of great stuff for a lot of people. So happy to be a part of it, and we'll see how the golf game looks.
What's the off season been like for you? It's a little bit longer than obviously you'd like, but it's been a while since you've had this time. Like, what's it been like?
Yeah, it's been nice. Obviously, there's been a little bit of injury stuff going on the last couple of years, so it's been nice to kind of freshen up a little bit and get healthy as good as possible, and spend a little bit more time in the gym and working on your game. So yeah, that was a nice part. But like you said, I think we'd all rather be having short summers.
Leon, what do you make of your team's offseason? You coach, some departures, some additions.
Yeah, seems like there's lots of new faces. I'm excited. Sometimes a fresh start can be great for groups and great for a team, a different look. Excited to have the new guys around. Excited to be with Babs. Yeah, we're excited.
What's
to that point, was it how important was it to get your questions answered? The leadership group with Babs and going forward,
yeah, very, very important. As we all know, there's history there, but I think we got that all off the table. We had an honest conversation about it. He was very honest about it. I think for us, it's time to move on and look forward to the start of the year, and we're extremely excited.
Why do you think he's a good fit for you guys?
I think it's just the time that we're all in our career, the I guess the age that we're in, and I think he's the right guy to get us to where we want to get to. Obviously, it's a different look, a change in personality, but very excited to learn from him, very excited to work with him, and like I said, very excited to get going.
The loudest golf carts ever, man. Was he just revving and standing in the background? Like, it's hilarious. Who's monitoring those things? Funny, but so there's Leon Draisaitl off season for the Oilers, and hey, when camp starts, which is not far away, training camp for the Oilers will begin on the 15th. That's medicals, and then they'll be on the ice on the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th. They have a preseason game on the 19th. Then again on the 22nd and the 24th. Those two are on the road. And then their final preseason game is the Saturday, the 26th of September. So both preseason games at home are on Saturdays. And then they open up the season only 3 days later. So not a ton of time from the end of the preseason to the start of the regular season. Just 2 days from the Saturday to the Tuesday. And away they go. And so when I look at the order schedule, keep in mind this year, veterans can only play 2 games. So maximum 2. Now, I assume that Draisaitl and McDavid will want to play 2. Now, maybe they wait to the end, but they could play both the home games if they wanted. Play a Saturday, then don't play again until the next Saturday. They could easily do that if they don't want to travel, which historically it hasn't happened a ton of. Sometimes they'll travel if the last game's a home game. I mean, in a road game. That's happened. So I could easily see that. And, you look at other veterans, same thing. Like, I don't think they're going to be traveling Matthias Ekholm, right? Like, why would you put extra wear and tear on a guy? Because usually in the preseason, you travel the day of the game. You're flying there and back. Now, the Oilers are, they open up against the Jets at home. Then they're in Winnipeg. Then they've got Calgary and Vancouver, their last 2 games. So it's not like the road games are far to Calgary or Vancouver, but still, I could I could see a lot of the younger veterans going to Winnipeg and being on the second road game. I could easily see it. So the team's going to want to get off to a good start. And I've said I fully expect the Oilers to get off to a good start. I don't think the roster is that bad at all. It's not like, oh my God, the coach was terrible, they couldn't win. They could have kept the coach and they still would have won. Well, we'll see if they win more. It's hard. Like, keep in mind, this team's been to the Cup final 2 of the last 3 years. So to have the same success, Babcock's got to make the Cup 2 of the next 3 years. That's pretty damn hard. So, but when your team's rested and your team still possesses 2 of the top 4 players in the NHL, you got a really good chance. Evan Bouchard had a pretty good year last year, right? Got himself a top 5 finalist in the Norris Trophy. It's a really good year. So they got pieces. Goaltending, we'll find out. Right? Team defense, for sure. That to me is the number one. If your team defense improves, your goaltending probably improves, your penalty kill improves. It's all part and parcel of the team defense. That's the number one thing. Offense will take care of itself because 97 and 29, they don't go very long without producing. Right? Connor McDavid had 138 points, his second highest point total of his career last year. So I think that offense once again will not be an issue for this team, and they will build towards what the coach maybe wants to do, GM wants to do at the trade deadline. Right? To me, that's going to be the big key. So I'm not again. I know there's some people who have thought, the Oilers haven't done enough. They haven't really improved. The Oilers will be fine. It's what moves can they make? And more importantly, how healthy can they be the trade deadline and then when the playoffs begin? Make no mistake, health is a major factor. Look at the years they've lost in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying even if they were fully healthy, they could have beat Colorado. They were an absolute wagon that year. But then they win a game, and Draisaitl playing on one leg, Nurse hurt. It happens. You go to the Stanley Cup final in 24. They got a few Draisaitl again. Unfortunately, he's nicked up. 25. Obviously, Hyman and Ekholm, 2 massive injuries. Last year, all 4 of your centers are hurt. It's hard to win, man. And the Oilers aren't the only team. Florida, when they lost the Cup in 23, they guys banged up all over the place. Does Vegas beat them if they're fully healthy? We'll never know. So health is the one wild card. So you can't prevent it, but you try to protect yourself with depth. And that's why I wouldn't rush out to use the cap space to start the year. I'd rather use it and add it throughout the year. You'll find out which one of your guys are going to bounce back in your bottom 6, or do you have to come out and fill those roles even more at the deadline? We'll see. That's what the season will be about. And I think they'll be looking to find a proven scorer close to the deadline. Hey, Greggs, what about Marchenko? Would you have interest in? Well, yeah, he's a proven scorer. I'd have interest in him tomorrow. No question, but he's going to cost you a lot. Right? If you're getting Marchenko, you're giving up significant pieces. And one of them is going to be Savoy or Howard or both. And I would strongly consider it. I really like Marchenko a lot, but I don't know. I have no idea, how serious those conversations have been, to be honest. But the possibility of him, yes. Now we know that, there's lots of rumors about Montreal and stuff. I get it, but Edmonton's name's been out there too. I didn't get a no when I asked about it. So, yes, there'd be interest. Again, though, what's the cost going to be? I'd be willing to pay a fair amount, though, for him. Quick break. We'll come back. 5 questions on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Papa John's, we know it's not just a pizza. It's a family gathering. A happy birthday, a special celebration, or just a sigh of relief at the end of a busy day. For a limited time, get large one-topping pizzas for only $14.99 each on original, thin, or New York-style crust. Use promo code L1499 at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Are you a skilled laborer? All Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience? All Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience searching for work, search All Star Construction on Indeed. The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Bricks 55th Birthday Bash continues with big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics, plus take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses, or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses, and don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over $155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in. The Birthday Bash ends July 29th at the Brick, saving you more.
Kickoff is coming August 1st. Elks, Rough Riders at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The prehistoric party is back, presented by Purelator Tackle Hunger. Experience family-friendly fun all game long with a dinosaur-themed contest. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Hi, Edmonton. The legend has been reimagined. Check out the all-new 2026 Subaru Outback with Subaru's legendary symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, impressive cargo versatility, advanced safety technology, and an IIHS top safety pick award or higher for 17 consecutive years. The Outback delivers confidence wherever adventure takes you. Whether it's the daily drive, the mountain getaway, or anything in between, the all-new Outback is built for the journey. Test drive it today at your local Subaru dealer. Welcome to Uncommon.
School's almost out, and road trip season is just around the corner. But if your brakes sound like they're grinding harder than a hockey fourth liner, it might be time to visit Napa Auto Parts. Napa has all the quality parts, tools, and know-how to help keep your vehicle running smoothly and road ready. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Crave presents Canada's hottest take on reality dating. Temptations Under the Sun, Cyprus.
This is not like any dating show I've ever seen.
Canada's most daring singles face seductive challenges and unexpected twists under the Mediterranean sun as they earn points and bet on what happens next to unlock key advantages.
Is it going to be PG-13? I don't think so.
Don't miss the wildest reality show this country has ever seen. Temptations Under the Sun, Cyprus, August 7th, only on Crave. Subscribe at crave.ca.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.448. We continue on. Monday afternoon, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you as it's time for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, and they got 2 days left as they celebrate their 55th birthday. Where, stopping at The Brick. They're giving away over $155,000 in prizes. Furniture, mattresses, bedding. Check it out at The Brick and thebrick.com. You got 2 days left.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, of course, seeing some Oilers speak to the media today at the Zach Hyman Golf Tournament. Did anything stand out from what you heard?
No. It's the off season. There's nothing. I'm not going to try to read into anything else. Like, hey, there's nothing that was said today that wasn't really any news, flash or anything new. Hey, you know what? They had an open conversation. They'll move into the season. They're excited about the new guys. They're going to miss Darnell Nurse. Pretty par for the course.
I mean, I appreciated their honesty, not shying away from it. I mean, Leon Draisaitl kind of commenting like, yeah, there's history there. They're not running from that. And I appreciate that because they probably could have just spun it off and, just not disclosed all that sort of thing. So I appreciated that, even though I don't really care at this point what they say. I want to see what Babcock does when he gets here. The talk is it's just that for me. But I appreciate them actually going into it. Question number 2. We talked some Kraken on the show today. If Shane Wright is moved, where would you like to see him end up?
Yeah. Well, he probably anywhere that he thinks is going to get a better opportunity. I wonder, does Seattle have enough other pieces, and would Larkin ever waive to go there? Could you formulate a deal? Obviously, Shane, it'd have to be Shane Wright plus a lot to do it, but I wonder if there's a possibility there. It'd have to be another proven player, and I just don't think Seattle has it, because I don't see Detroit, even with their new GM, whenever they announce who their new GM is, I don't see them giving away Larkin for just picks and prospects. They got to get an NHL player back. And if not, they just say, hey, we're not trading you. You want to walk away from your money? Okay, great. But I think eventually Larkin would come back and play.
Yeah, I mean, just a spot, like you said, somewhere where he'll get opportunity, maybe a fresh start for him. Heck, maybe he thrives in a hockey mad market. So I'll say the Calgary Flames. I don't know if they would want to trade him in the division. There's always some risk to that, but I'm going to go with the Calgary Flames, a team that could bring him in, give him playing time. I think that would be a spot for me. Question number 3 for you. With the Sixers edition of LeBron James, right now, who are your top 5 teams in the association?
Go ahead.
I'm going to put I'll put the Lakers. Sorry. I will put the Sixers at 5. 4. Don't prove me wrong, Joker. I'm going to have the Denver Nuggets there. 3, I will go with the Spurs. 2, OKC, and you're still the champ, still someone dethrones you. So I'll go the Knicks at the number 1 spot.
So basically, you have the 76ers jumping up into the top 5 with
They're 5.
Nuggets, Spurs, Thunder. Trying to think of a team. Like the Celtics obviously lost a guy, so I don't... Detroit, was that just a one-year wonder? Probably. Although I don't mind Detroit. Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue with. I'd like to change out somebody, but there's nobody that I love strong enough to move them out. Maybe the Atlanta Hawks.
Where would you throw the Lakers right now?
Well, they're still definitely a playoff team in my eyes. I look at the West and OKC, the Spurs, and Denver. Would the Lakers still be 4th? Maybe I'll put them 5th behind the Timberwolves.
All right. Question number 4. Earlier today, the Bills released their new gray uniform. It's not getting a lot of positive feedback from NFL fans. What do you think in the NFL right now is the least visually appealing uniform?
Go ahead, buddy. This is right up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, the one that will get me, and I don't know if they'll ever wear it again because I think it was so awful, but the Baltimore Ravens a couple of years ago wore the purple jersey with the gold pants. That one for me, I thought was just horrible, and I don't know if they'll ever go back that route. But honestly, I think it might be these Buffalo Bills jerseys, and I could try to get behind the gray, but that helmet makes absolutely no sense. When the blueprint is right there, you've got the Doug Flutie, Eric Moulds, Thurman Thomas, I believe. that era of jersey with the red helmet is such a clean look, and they, for whatever reason, went away from it. So I'm going to go with that Bills jersey. I think it takes the cake. I think it's terrible.
I'm sorry. Cleveland's brown jersey is just like, come on, man. It looks like dung. It's not good. The other one that the Falcons, when they have their matte black helmet, but they have the gray face mask.
Yeah.
That's the one I just, and like the kind of the odd, what do they call it? Futuristic numbering. That one has to be up there. It's just not very appealing at all.
Well, the Bucks, not the creamsicle, but the Jameis Winston alarm clock font was bad. And heck, I'll just say I don't like the Chargers yellows either. So throw my own team under the bus.
You don't like the Chargers yellow?
No.
Well, their powder blue's so good, so I can see why. The powder blue's like top 5 NFL jerseys.
Powder blue. The Navy's good. This year they're going away from the yellow pant, so it'll be a little less highlighter, but still. Final question for you, Jason. WWE star Triple H celebrating his 57th birthday today. I despised him. Even when he was in DX, I was never a fan of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So I'm asking you, and not just heels, but who are the wrestlers you despise the most? Give me your top 3.
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, top 3 wrestlers I despise. Well, anytime he got in there, I hated Vince McMahon. Can I put
100%
putting him in, like, he's douche of douches, so he would be up there for sure. I was never, it's like, this might be like, I was never a Steve Austin guy. I never really got on Steve Austin. I was like, meh, he was okay. Like, I shouldn't say I hated him. So I just was never I was just never into him as much as everybody else. But I guess guys that I really hated, then I'm definitely going with the toilet bowl Mucka Singh from my youth in Stampede Wrestling. Couldn't stand him, right? Couldn't stand him at all. So that's probably like when I was emotionally connected to it for sure. It'd be him. And then your Triple H is a pretty good one, but I'm gonna go with who's another guy I really didn't like? Kane.
It's a good one. Because I also didn't like Kane because I was an Undertaker guy. I'm going to probably follow up with you with Vince McMahon, but kind of just say the entire McMahon family, Linda, Shane and Stephanie, like they all were just the worst. I respected Shane McMahon because he didn't have to do the stupid stuff he did, but he did it anyways, like launching himself off Hell in a Cell and those sorts of things. Like he was the heir to $1 billion company and he still did those sort of things. Maybe he had to prove himself. So I'll say that entire family. Kurt Angle was another one I hated because I was on Stone Cold Steve Austin's side. So when Kurt Angle was kind of the anti-hero against him, despite being the all-American guy, great storyline, but I did not like him. And Hulk Hogan, when he turned heel and went to the NWO, like looking back at it, it was awesome. But as a kid, I hated it. I was always on the side of WCW and Sting, and then Bret Hart when he went over there, and then even the Red Wolfpack when that became a thing. Yeah, Red NWO. So yeah, Hulk Hogan, credit to him as a wrestler. That the heel turn was fantastic.
He was actually really good as a heel. That's a good point, Con. I like it. We got hey guys, I hated JBL with a passion. Guys, the Cuban Assassin. What irritated me was he always would pull out things and never get caught from Not Fred. It's true, he did. Right. And well, the great Ed Whalen was so good at selling it. And he was just like, oh, this is the biggest travesty. And he would just lose his marbles. Oh, and those green army pants that the Cuban Assassin always wore, classics, man. You could hide a lot of stuff in those. I get it. It's hard to find. It was hard for the ref. Like, how'd you expect a referee to find that, Cons? Come on.
So he would pull them out of his pants?
Oh, yeah. Because he had the green army pants, right? So he'd have like the pockets down the side and stuff. Oh, yeah. He'd kind of have something hidden. And then you come in and whether it was like a fork or a knife or a illegal substance, sometimes, Gama Singh was normally the one who would throw like stuff in your face. But he would always have the pants on. It was unreal.
I like that. Yeah. I was a huge fan. Like, go under the table. Under the ring? Why is there tables and chairs? Who knows? But great way to grab a steel chair and, use it as a weapon. Love that kind of stuff. And always having the tag team partner or the manager to distract the ref was great.
Yeah, it was a classic move. Classic. Max Scherzer on the mound tonight against Washington gets the standing ovation on the road because, of course, he spent a lot of his career with the Nationals, and he'll be up tough today because the Nats, man, are they crushing. What about CJ Abrams right now? Since the All-Star break, he's got more home runs than the whole Jays team, and I think he's got more home runs than like 6 other teams in the league. It's absolutely killing it. So Scherzer is not going to have an easy time today against the Nationals. They got a few guys that are absolutely killing it. And the big thing for Max, like a lot of the Jays guys, can he get out of the first inning? It's not looking good. He's already got bases loaded. So Connor will give you an update on that. Let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. You got a few days left. Employee pricing ends this Friday. Get in now, northgategm.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Montreal Canadiens acquiring winger Sasha Passage from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for center Sean Farrell. Both players currently restricted free agents in need of new contracts. Former CFL Most Outstanding Defensive Player Lorenzo Malden has decided to unretire and join the BC Lions. The 33-year-old led the CFL in sacks in 2022 with 17 and previously had signed a one-day contract to retire with the Red Blacks in March after a stint for the USFL's Louisville Kings. Major League Baseball, as Jason mentioned, not great for the birthday boy Max Scherzer. Bases loaded, 1 out in the bottom of the first. That game currently scoreless. We'll join it in progress following the Gregor Show at 6 o'clock. Elsewhere, Orioles on top of the Tigers, 1-0. Phillies and Marlins tied at 2 apiece. All the Reds and Guardians scoreless in the first, currently delayed due to rain. Later tonight, Mets host the Braves. Yankees taking on the White Sox. Cubbies Cards. Angels hosting the Astros. Red Sox at the Sacramento to take on the Athletics. And you got the Giants and Brewers. Earlier today, Rangers over the Mariners by a score of 7-3. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, Edmonton Elks defensive lineman Gavin Meyer, and we'll hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Mr. Rooter has deja vu. Mr. Rooter has deja vu.
The bathroom is right over there, Mr. Rooter.
Thank you, good sir. Wait, I swear I've plunged this toilet before. It was clogged with a snow globe. Am I living in a time loop? Oh, good. It's just a voodoo doll that looks exactly like me. Whew, what a relief.
For a plumbing experience you'll want to relive, call Mr. Rooter.
Say hello to Alberta's home for reeling and dealing. With Play Alberta, you can spin into the excitement of popular slots like Cash Eruption and Desert Fantasy. Experience Alberta exclusive games and get in on the action of live dealer tables with all new elevated stakes. However you prefer to play, the fun is ready when you are. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
What's 426 divided by 12? Okay, if I carry the 1, yeah, we're out. Go Auto has a free credit calculator that does the math for you. See what you could qualify for, estimate your payments, and get a better idea of what's in your budget. Because shopping for a vehicle is exciting, but crunching numbers, yeah, not so much. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all sevens.
Get ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. The Gene Simmons Band, performing your favorite classic hits. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Tickets on sale now at silenticecenter.com. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Athletic Care, Edmonton's multidisciplinary health clinic at West Edmonton Mall. Physicians, physio, massage, sports psychology, and more. One team, one roof, one plan. Book now at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, tell you right now, man, Mr. Kirk is he's sitting in the dugout, probably just taking deep breaths, thank goodness. Because, man, he had an infield, bases loaded. Scherzer gets the batter to pop it up on the infield, out of play, foul. Kirk's running over, kind of nonchalantly goes to catch it with one hand down by his hip, drops it. Luckily, the next pitch got the batter out. Otherwise, man, Scherzer would have had to give up a run or two there. Kirky would have been in the doghouse. But that's just an illustration of how bad defensively the Jays have been right now. Just not focused. They're not focused as a team at all. Like that's and Kirk's a pretty good defensive player, but that's a microcosm of how their season's gone defensively right now. So, but they got out of it. So bases loaded jam, and Scherzer gets out of it. So no runs given up in the first inning. It is the Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's one-stop shop if you want to combine lots of different fun from casino, sports, live dealer, lottery, instants, and more at PlayAlberta.ca. We got some Elks and some Oilers season preview bets there. You can check it out. Get some odds boost, PlayAlberta.ca. Time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist. And if you're looking for a great job with a great company, lots of benefits, lots of opportunity, most importantly, to carve out a career for you and move up corporate ladder inside the company, check it out, GS Construction, and look up careers. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good, man. Like, that's always the underrated part of baseball, right? Like, I always think, Jay, like how many handles would a catcher have in a game? Let's say there's 100 pitches just for fun. Let's say there's 2 or 3 other handles he has. Let's say there's, a play at the plate. Maybe there's a bunt, a couple of those pop flies that Kirk just missed. Like, if he has a perfect day and doesn't mess up any of his handles, we don't even talk about that guy. We don't even mention him, right? Catcher caught every ball. There were no pass balls. He caught all those little pop flies. But the minute he misses one out of 115 or 120 handles, we're like, oh, my God, look at the bad play that catcher made. Right? It's a thankless job back there, huh?
Oh, it's a tough gig. But wait, you watch the replay and you'd be like, okay, that's one he should have
He's
cut.
got to have it.
Yeah.
He's got to have it. I get it. Those guys catch those in their sleep. It's a long season, and it's when you lose a little focus, you lose a little bit of will. I think the Blue Jays, Jay, have lost some will, right? They've seen it slip away. They know it's not going to be there. They know they're about to trade away a bunch of guys. They've lost some will, and that's where it exposes itself, is a crappy little play like that should get made, doesn't get made, right?
Yeah. No, that is totally valid. There's a interesting Spec. We had Kevin Woodley on and, asked him about
I heard him.
Devin Levi and kind of what his expectations were. And I really liked his answer. And because he he admitted, he goes, first of all, I admit that I got a little bit of bias. I know him. I've worked with him. It's good. He talked about, the importance of goalie pace to play, but he did mention, the challenge is going to be like, how many games does he play? Like, when you look at the coaching staff, one of the toughest decisions or most important decisions they're going to have this year is finding out how to keep, their goalies in rhythm, especially a young guy like Freddie Anderson. 4 years now, he's barely played like in the regular season, right? The most he's played is 34. So, if he plays 25, he'll be fine. You know what I mean? But it's more so, it'll be interesting to see, how do you play Devin Levi? And then how do you play him, or how quickly do you play him after he has an off game?
Yeah, or an awesome game. Like, let's say both are true. Like this will be the most sort of talked about part of the Oilers season. Like, they're going to sit down, have a big meeting before the season starts, right? The head coach, I don't know if the GM's in on this, certainly the goalie coach, the assistant coaches. How are we doing this 3 goalie system? Like, who, Freddie, you're our first guy. How many games do you need? How many starts do you need? Okay, I need 30. Let's say 30 just for fun. Okay, got 30 starts for Freddie Anderson. All right. So now we've got 54 more starts. Now, how many is, Jari's the incumbent. In the normal season, Jari gets 40 games. Like, you're paying him 5.5.
Oh, you get more than 40 for sure.
More, at least 40. But you can't give him the 54 because you do have Levi around. So how many does Levi get? And let's say Levi goes out on Tuesday and is absolutely rock solid and so good that he lets in 1 or none and you win and he's great. Like, the schedule says he's not supposed to get another start for a week and a half. What happens now? Do we give him 10 days, or does he take someone's start on Thursday night? Like, that's going to be fascinating this year.
Oh yeah. Like, it's, now I don't know if you're Mike Babcock, do you call up Rod Brindamore, ask his advice? Maybe you do, right? Like, I know there's the coaching fraternity, right? Cause they've had a 3 goalie rotation, although they had always had injuries. And that's where it might become a little bit easier here, that, if all of a sudden Freddie Anderson, he's out 10 days, you know what I mean? So, that might be the factor on it. But if all 3 stay healthy, there might be a stretch where that you're like, man, somebody's playing well, but they're not going to get into a regular rotation. It's probably what's going to happen.
It's goofy. Like, one of the early stories I'll be writing this year is trying to find some guys out there in the hockey world, goalies, who have been part of a 3 goalie system, and what made it work and what made it not work.
Yeah.
What are the perils of a 3 goalie system that you better know about now? And there's tons of them. What are they like? And a ton of this revolves around practice time. A lot. Like, there's very little meaningful practice time in an NHL season anymore. There's morning skates are darn near useless. There's not many good practice days. And how do we split up that time between our guys? Who wants how many shots? All of that. Like, this story will dominate the Oilers this year to a large extent, and maybe that's good, because maybe it'll get the ink off of the rest of the team a little bit.
Yeah, possibly. If they're playing well, then it becomes kind of a sidebar, right? If you're playing well, hey, whatever's broke, don't fix it. So away you go. The Edmonton Elks are not broke, Spec. They're the best team in the CFL right now, them in Montreal, and they're ahead of them because they've beaten Montreal, Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg. And, we saw the weekend come through here. Calgary, Vernon Adams, ridiculous start to the season, 21 consecutive touchdown passes without an interception. Most to start the season, most ever in CFL history at any point. They're rolling. They beat Winnipeg. Montreal gets by Hamilton, doesn't look great, but they got by them. Now you got the rematch, and the Elks, for the first time all year, are not sending anybody to the infirmary. They didn't have any injuries in that game. Carter O'Donnell and his wife are expecting a child. My understanding is today, so he wasn't on the practice field, so he'll probably be out there tomorrow. They're expecting him back on Saturday. Nick Anderson practiced today. He's when you're on week 5 of the 6th game, you're allowed to practice full with the team. So he was out there. He's not going to
full with the team or 20 minutes.
Full, he's allowed to be full because you get the 1 week of practice. Other guys are not allowed, and they can only take part in individual drills, not team drills. But he could, and he's on the field. He's not going to play this weekend, but he'll be ready for the following one unless there's a setback between now and then. So, they're getting other guys healthy. They got Mogensen back. Boyko came back last week. Royce Mechie came back. So not only is the team winning and playing well, now they're starting to get healthier too.
Well, there you go. And you know what? Like, it's hard to, usually with a team like this that's been, it's having its first taste of success, we all ask, are they for real? Like, is this a bit of a fluke? Are they getting a bunch of luck or whatever? And, I'm looking for that when I'm watching them play, honestly, Jay. I'm looking for a team that's doing it with mirrors, and I'm not seeing it. Like, they've won different ways. They've won with a run, they've won with a pass. They certainly did with that in Regina the other day. They've beat some bad teams, sure, but you know what? They won in Winnipeg and they won in Regina, and then they beat Montreal and Edmonton. Those are 3 good teams. So out of their 6 wins, 3 of them are against legitimate top-ish teams in the CFL. So that's not by mistake or fluke. Are they getting contributions from a bunch of places? Yeah, it seems like every week there's a different receiver that has a big game, right? Javon Leake has started to establish a role on this team, and he's taken maybe a little pressure off of Rankin here and there. So they've got a lot of weapons. If I'm trying to scheme against the Elks this week, if I'm Saskatchewan Roughriders, like they're not a one-man team, man. It's not just Rankin beating everybody now. It's a full offensive effort. Their special teams have been good, and they got a kicker that can drain one from 57 on the last play of the game if that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. No, they're credit at Herbie. He's built a lot of depth in this organization right now, and you get some belief. Their offense, I thought, did a great job. First time really that I thought the offensive coordinator adjusted to what the opposition was doing and then exploited it. And so much of coaching is in game. As much as there's preparation, it's in game is a lot of times the difference between winning and losing. Now, if you're not prepared and your team gets spanked, well, then, early on, you got nothing. There's nothing you can do. But a lot of times it's like, okay, this defense is now they're doing this. We didn't expect it. Okay, how do we counter? And in some games, they didn't necessarily do it great. The BC games, I thought, but in that Saskatchewan game, I felt they learned from the BC game and said, okay, let's adjust here. And now they started going over top. And then they ran, different patterns where all of a sudden they forced the halfback in the corner. Well, who's he going to cover? And that would leave a guy wide open. And it worked. And you know what? The rematch on Saturday, man, I'm telling you, I know they had a pretty good weekend of ticket sales, and I expect that to continue. There's some increased excitement around the green and gold. And if hopefully we have a nice Saturday of weather, which has been tough to do on any Saturday here in this lovely city right now, that's only going to help them. But they've had a really good splurge of tickets. Like, these are advanced tickets. We know that CFL, it's always been a big walk-up game day for sure. And that will be, weather approval. That's probably not going to change for a while until they get a bigger base of season ticket holders. But in the meantime, they just got to keep playing well. And you have an exciting game like that, there's a chance that a lot of people would be like, oh, what are we doing Saturday at 5:00? Let's go to the game. Yeah, I feel like these storms that are coming in, that post Malone situation last Saturday night, that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help the Riverhawks. That doesn't help a festival, a music festival. That doesn't help the Elks. That just has people putting off buying tickets and saying, I'm going to see what the radar says, which no one loves that. No. But you can't help that. That's just nature, and Mother Nature's undefeated here. But I'm with you. All the Elks can do is take care of their side of this bargain. They can't change the weather, but what they can do is be a team that you want to support, that deserves your support, and that when you do decide to plunk down your $30 or your $50 or whatever you're spending to get in, that you get entertained. You leave entertained. And I certainly, as a guy that spent I think it was Thursday night they played Saskatchewan, I sat down at like 6:30 for a 7:00 game. And by the time that game was over and Blanchard was lining up that 57-yarder, me and my buddies on the deck were saying, whether or not this thing goes through and the Elks win, this was an awesome game, awesome entertainment, fantastic night. And we watched the ball go through the uprights, so it's even better, right? But they're doing their end, Jay. That's what I'm trying to say to you here. The Elks are doing everything they can do. They're entertaining you. They're winning. They're giving you a game that means something. And hopefully they get rewarded with a big fat crowd. Yeah. Spec, we're a week away from a trade deadline for the Toronto Blue Jays. You look at it, you know what? Hey, they're in the dumps. We know that. They're probably not going to win. But what would you do with like Bieber and Gosman? Would you trade both? You have to try to find out this week if you can re-sign one of them. Because if you trade both, now you're spending all summer trying to find a starting pitcher. And that's really hard to do.
Well, I mean, clearly if they've already had the conversations with the agents, and they may admit to it or not. But I think you have to speak to the agent and say, what are you looking for this summer? Is your guy interested? Would he consider coming back? Some players will say, no, he's not. So you move the guy. I think their moves will tell us what the players and the agents told the Blue Jays. If Gausman were to tell the Blue Jays, I'm willing to resign. He seems like a guy that digs Toronto. He seems like a guy, I'm seeing his social media once in a while. He defends Canada. He likes being in Canada. He defends Toronto against all this U.S. onslaught. He seems like a guy that wants to be there. So if Gausman's agent says, oh, yeah, we'll sure talk to you about signing, then I keep him because he's got lots left, and he's a guy that wants to play for me. If my agent's more lukewarm and he says, I don't know, we're going to test the markets, then forget it. I'm getting what I can for him at the deadline. Is that not fair? Isn't that what everybody would do?
Probably, yeah.
No loyalty left in sport here, buddy. If he's not loyal to me, I'm sure as heck not loyal to him, right?
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, and I can understand that. You probably don't have much of a choice in the matter. And it'll be. But the other thing is, even if you do trade both of them, like they don't even have enough starting pitchers. I guess you go down to the minors, but there is that factor here where they look and say, okay, like, can we trade off a few guys and then go on a miracle run? Because they're like, I know, hey, 5 games out is a ton. Don't get me wrong, but considering what we've seen before, like look at this year in the MLB, like look at Florida or the Miami Marlins, excuse me, that long winning streak, and now they've lost like 12 in a row. It's wild. They're like the Buffalo Sabres that year where they won 10 and then they still didn't make the playoffs. Like usually when you win that many games in a row, you should make the playoffs.
I think I saw where was anybody in the American League playing better than 600 ball? I'm not sure they are. Like it's a pretty tepid league. No one's running away here. No one's great.
Yeah, there's no one over 600 in I think the best team is are the Rays, and they're like 5'9", 5'59", whatever, 5'9".
So you don't have a team, but I guess I want to say, like, listen, the deadline's there for a reason, and you got to make a decision. You can't if you're the GM and you're saying, well, I'm not going to trade guys at the deadline in case there's a miracle 20 out of 25 run coming up. Well, you haven't done that all year, buddy. Right? Like, to me, you got to be decisive. And you got to say to yourself, either I'm managing this team and we have because I think we have a chance to make the playoffs, and therefore I'm looking to acquire and I'm looking to keep my best guys, or I'm going to manage this team like we are not making the playoffs, and I'm going to manage it that way. Don't tell me I'm sitting around waiting. I've been a team that's playing 475 ball all year long, and now I expect that there's going to be a run where I'm going to play 780 ball or 800 ball. I mean, come on, Jay. Is that going to happen?
No, the Jays are done. There's no question. It's just a matter of
you got to manage your team that way.
How done are they? Like Springer, Varsho, I'd be moving those guys for sure. No hesitation. If there's a team interested, I'd be moving them because I'm not sure I want to. I'm not sure. I know I don't want to bring them back. You got to move on at some point. You can fall in love with the run of 2025, but the reality is even teams who win change out a lot of their guys. So when you lose, you definitely got to change them.
For sure, Jay. I'm with you all the way.
Spec, we'll chat with you tomorrow. Have yourself a great night.
Sounds good, Jay.
It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we return, not very often that you come in as a rookie and get on an interception streak. Well, that's exactly that has happened to our next guest. He will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Kickoff is coming August 1st. Elks, Rough Riders at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The prehistoric party is back, presented by Purolator Tackle Hunger. Experience family-friendly fun all game long with the dinosaur-themed contest. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Not sure what wheels fit your vehicle? Evolve Wheels and Tires gives you honest advice from enthusiasts who know fitment inside and out. Whether it's your truck, SUV, or sports car, they have you covered. Evolve Wheels and Tires, Edmonton's premium wheel specialists. Evolve your ride. Evolve your experience.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Brick's 55th birthday bash continues with big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Plus, take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses, or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses, and don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over $155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in, the birthday bash ends July 29th at the Brick, saving you more.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
For all your welding supplies, think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their readily stocked storefront carries a wide variety of welding glasses, cylinder rentals, plus welding rod, wire, and consumables. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees at participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Running a business is tough. Finding new customers shouldn't be. Stop chasing leads. Let them come to you with Stingray, offering you access to more digital, outdoor, and traditional advertising platforms, including radio, connected TV, search and social, programmatic, digital advertising, and digital out-of-home. So while you're closing the next deal, Stingray is working for you to deliver more leads, more customers, more sales. It's that easy. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com and always be closing.
Feeling overwhelmed by debt? Concerned about what the next few weeks or months will bring for your finances? My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. You don't have to navigate this alone. Together, we can review your options and build a personalized plan to reduce your payments and get you out of debt, so you can breathe again. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book your free consultation and discover your debt-free future.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
At Papa John's, we know it's not just a pizza. It's a family gathering, a happy birthday, a special celebration, or just a sigh of relief at the end of a busy day. For a limited time, get large one-topping pizzas for only $14.99 each on original, thin, or New York-style crust. Use promo code L1499 at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger. You make your way home, man. Geez, Mill Creek is flooded. This is a crazy, can't recall seeing stuff like this. So be safe out there. There's road closures in a lot of different places. So Just be patient as you make your way home. It is not an ideal day on the roads. They're just you know what? We just keep getting deluge after deluge of water, and you know what? It's probably one where you got to help out your neighbors or friends or anybody if you got an extra shop back around or anything, because gosh, the flooding never stops right now. It's a crazy time, man. Crazy time. We're going to chat with Gavin Meyer here momentarily. We got a lot of text to get to, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Some flooding down by the low-level bridge. We got this from Harry. So traffic's backed up Saskatchewan Drive, so you might want to think of a different way if you're already not caught in that. So we'll see. Hey, boys, that one touchdown to Mac with throw 3 deep against cover 2 seam was awesome from Bob. That, you know what? There was a lot of big plays in that game. 81-yarder to Mac, a 57-yarder to Mac, a 68-yarder to Julian Grant. They went big time, and it's nice to see for an offense that really wasn't known for that up until that point. And if you keep doing that, now teams have to game plan, and now they can't just continue to want to throw 9 guys up in the box and say, we're just going to shut down Rankin. And so the minute that now all of a sudden they back guys out, well, now you got more open field for Rankin. I agree wholeheartedly with what Rick Walters said earlier in the show about the running attack. You got to get a spread formation, right? You don't have to bring your receivers in on every run game, right? I think they got to spread it out a little bit and see if that benefits it. Because, hey, Rankin is ultra talented, but he's kind of been negated here the last few weeks. Now, the good news is you've shown you can win without that, because they won both of those games, and that's awesome. And now, though, if you force the opposition to have to respect your passing attack downfield, because as good of Rankin is, now he has the big run capability for sure, but he's got to beat a lot of guys for that to happen. If all of a sudden you're getting beat on one play by one guy 80, 70, 60 yards, well, now as a defensive coordinator, you're like, okay, we can't keep getting beat this way. So now we'll have to adjust and alter. But the one thing that Saskatchewan wasn't able to do was, even when they brought pressure, they didn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Cons. That to me was the maybe the most positive part of that, was that they did not get a lot of pressure on Cody Fajardo. And you give a quarterback that time, he's going to beat you, right? And we had Cody on the show on Friday after that big win. And you know, he mentioned that the Julian Grant, that might have been the longest throw he's made in his career in the CFL as far as the ball in the air. And so if you're going to start airing it out, man, now it's endless opportunities of what can happen. And so the rematch, I can't wait for that game on Saturday. Honestly, it'll be exciting to see, okay, how does Saskatchewan's defense counter Elks offensively? How do the Elks defense counter Saskatchewan offensively? Because they too, you know, like they had 386 passing yards. It was almost 900 passing yards between the two teams. It was awesome. Now let's hear from Coach Killam, as caught up with him. And you know, first of all, he was just asked about kind of his thoughts on where he sees his team.
Hey, Gavin.
Well, I think we won't get to him. We're going to get to Gavin Meyer. Connor's able to track him down. So we'll get to Gavin Meyer now, the D lineman, who is off to a pretty good start in his CFL career. It's not very often that you come in as a rookie D lineman and boom, you know, you're making plays defensively as interceptions. Who knew? But Gavin Meyer joins us now. Gavin, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Doing well. Yeah, it's good to be on.
Well, Gavin, I don't know, how many interceptions did you have in college?
Man, sad to say, but 0. It's been a while. It's been before high school since I had my last pick. Scoops and scores and all that, but yeah, it's been a while since I had an interception. So
you come in, you make your pro debut, and boom, you got 2 interceptions, and you know, you're right place, right time. Obviously, good ball awareness, but man, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, like you said, right place, right time. Got the whole defense behind me making plays, and then when everyone's doing their job and making plays like that, just got to go get the ball, right?
Yeah, well, hey, you pressure defense, and that's what the defense is all about, is about pressuring it. For you, kind of, what have you felt? Because I know you graded out, and I don't know if the coaches told you this or not, but I know you graded out very well in camp and the preseason games. And, sometimes it's a numbers game. You just got to wait for your opportunity to get in, and you've made the most of it since coming in. How have you felt like from camp? Did you feel like right from the get-go here, you felt comfortable and were able to make plays?
Yeah, I was able to get up here last year and had an opportunity after the roster expansion stuff to kind of learn the game and, change my mindset from, ball down south to what it takes to be a player up here. And then coming up during camp and all that comes with that, going back to training camp lifestyle and, grinding out practice and all that, and having the opportunity in the preseason and, showing what I can do on the football field still. It was just all shout out to the coaches and everyone around me for being able to put me in positions to make plays, because, that's what it comes down to, doing your part and then, showcasing what you can do.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you adjusting to the CFL game?
Man, that yard off the ball, man, it's something that you have to get used to, because down south you can put your hands on people so fast, and the fight happens right on the line of scrimmage. Up here, a lot of people have a lot more time to set things up in the pass game and in the run game.
So getting used to that, because, a lot of time you're just used to, bull rushing a guy or being closer. What's been the biggest thing you've learned in an early period of time, how to use that yard off the ball to your advantage?
Well, I would say in the run game, there's not much you can do. It just kind of delays the inevitable of what contact is, but you have a little bit more time to react. And then in the pass game, I would say for full line games, whether it's blitzes and pressures or stunts with the D line, you could really have more time to set up what you want to do, and I guess make them believe what you're going to do, and sell something, and then bring something else, compared to you can really get your hands on people down south. So those linemen do this kind of thing where they jump out at you, and there isn't much time to set stuff up. But up here, I mean, if a lineman's setting back quite a bit, there's an extra two, 3 steps, which is all the difference for football. Up here, I mean, quarterbacks are getting it out in less than 2 seconds, so there's not that much time. But if they hold it for a little while, it lets you get home.
Now, you were added to the practice roster late last year. How much do you think that helped you just kind of coming into camp this year?
Phenomenally. I mean, it was a big opportunity last year, and I would say the roster expansion is a great idea because you're able to kind of get your feet wet, especially since going from college, doing all the pro day training and such, and then going from not playing ball for a while to coming up here later in the season and having an opportunity like that, which a lot of guys end up playing when they come up here right from that roster expansion window. So it was a great opportunity. I'd like to be outside to practice and see how wide the field is and how far you got to run, and special teams, how important it is, and learning all those ins and outs that a lot of the guys don't get to and have to learn during training camp.
Now, you were at USC for 1 year after being in Wyoming, and your GM, of course, Ed Hervey, was also a USC alum. Was that part of his recruiting tool to get you to come up here?
Man, yeah, Ed and I have talked about the USC connection a little bit, but no, I actually didn't know that until I came up here. That's when he dropped it on me and told me about his USC connection with me, and it's special. It's USC communities worldwide for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you looked it up. He was pretty fast when he played. Real,
just a little bit, yeah, just a little bit,
just a little bit, yeah. 4.240. He's not very slow at all. So, Gavin, you go into Saskatchewan, and obviously, for you, you've been in the league. It's your first year, and so you're going to new places all the time, and everything's kind of new. And a last-second field goal where were you or where kind of take us through what you saw, where you were when he kicks the field goal?
Sure. The play before, TJ, big catch there, press forward, get some yards that were, and then they not that needed, but, want to make a field goal as short as you can. And so that play where you knew the next play was going to be a field goal, I turned to some of my teammates, some of the D linemen that I'm standing next to. I'm like, all right, here we go. Get ready for all the personnel that has to be called. And I'm standing probably, equal to, the 50 or the 55 right on the C there. And looking at my D-line teammates and, I'm saying, all right, here we go. Take a look around the stadium. A lot of people are nervous, have all the different faces. And, the clock winds down to 0 and, the operation's good. Snap, hold, kick goes up. And, it looked about as good as it did on TV from the first-person point of view. But as soon as the ball went up, I knew there was a good chance it was going in, and looked around over my teammates celebrating, and walked onto the field and celebrated with the boys.
In that moment, like you see, everybody has different reaction. Obviously, it's jubilation. It's something unique about sports at any level. You have an overtime winning goal in hockey. You have a walk-off home run. You have a walk-off touchdown or interception or field goal like this. And, what's great, it's rare that we see in the world really where everybody celebrates for someone else. And I know the team won, but in that moment, it was Blanchard. And I know, Ty Ford said the thing he got most fired up about was his speech in the locker room afterwards, where Ty goes, I didn't really know that English was a second language until afterwards, and he was loving it. Kind of take us through that moment, after the game in the dressing room where everyone's together and, you're handing out the awards, and then, Blanchard has to get up and speak. Yeah.
The post-game speeches by, the coaches and some of the team leaders are always phenomenal. But when, a special teams player gets called out, and in this case, Vinny gets the helmet, and then after the hat goes on, all the team begs for speech, chanting that, and I think Vinny was a little flustered, still trying to catch his breath from all the celebrations. He didn't really stumble, but then people were asking, to speak in French, and some people were asking for English, and then he ended up going pretty simple with a couple English sentences. But yeah, it fired me up because not many people know Vinny's second language is English. So, and it was funny because his locker's right next to mine on the away trip, so I got to be right next to him when he was thinking of inspirational words to motivate the team with.
Gavin Meyer joins us, rookie D lineman, already 2 interceptions in his CFL career after having none in college. Now, D lineman, you're not meant to have interceptions, but I'm sure they feel good when you get it. And, but anytime you're a rookie player, you come in and you feel comfortable and part of the team, but you want to make an impact right away. And, those 2 interceptions, man, like there's no better way to gain trust from your teammates other than making plays. And you made some huge plays early on. How much of a confidence boost has that been for you? And do you feel like maybe, it's helped slow the game down a bit for you?
There's something to be said about making plays and how the game slows down, and the confidence, whether subconsciously, how that just happens and you gain confidence and you don't even understand what's happening. But when the game slows down, I think the plays do come to you because you kind of see things that happen. I would say that making plays earns the trust of your coaches, your teammates, and everybody. And that's just a product of, the work that's been done through all my veterans on the team, helping me be in the right place at the right time, giving me the opportunities and, seeking, successful team wins and success as a unit as far as D-line goes. And that's a big part of it, because if they, didn't help me along the way, I definitely wouldn't be where I am. So I would just give all credit to them.
Well, Gavin, continued success and enjoy the rematch. It should be a fun Saturday afternoon in Edmonton. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all.
There you go. That's Gavin Meyer, newest member of the Green and Gold. And hey, talk about you want guys to step in and make plays. He's making plays. That's wild that he went 4 years in college, doesn't get an interception. Well, it's not that crazy. It's not like D linemen get a ton of picks. But the fact that he has 2 already is that's a fun storyline. And it shows you that there's ways to make plays. And this defense, whether it's a secondary, whether it's the linebackers, because look how many interceptions their linebackers have, and their D linemen. They're making plays all over the field, which is good news. We'll come back. Cam Tate will wrap it up on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's the hard jobs that take know-how, expertise, and the right experience. And that's why, time and time again, GS Construction gets the call when it comes to the hard jobs. Underground projects that are genuinely difficult, like deep installs, tough ground conditions, or tight urban sites. So remember, when it's a hard job, the list gets short, and GS Construction is on it. Want to tackle the hard jobs? We're looking for experienced pipe layers and topmen. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
I missed one payment, then another. Now I feel behind on everything. I can't keep up.
It's a good thing I have this computer-generated voice for this particular 2-minute warning because, well, I know I could not get through it on my own.
Here in Edmonton.
It's away from 48.
We can create a plan that fits
and
your
today,
situation and helps you get caught up and back in control. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit BDOdebt.ca.
It's all of a sudden become very gentle.
Your debt-free future.
The Bricks 55th.
In late July of 19...
Big savings store-wide. Save on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics. Plus, take 55 months to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses. Or 36 months on appliances and electronics on approved credit. Find up to 30% off bedroom packages, up to 40% off select mattresses. And don't forget, you could be one of 275 winners with over 155,000 in prizes to be won. Hurry in. The birthday bash ends July 29 at the Brick. Saving you more.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
He came home, and right away I saw that look in his eyes. I knew what was coming. Before I could even speak, he raised his hand
and just kept texting me over and over, asking where I was, who I was with, demanding I respond immediately or I'd regret it. I couldn't escape.
Because he stepped in front of the door and locked it. I had nowhere to go. I was completely cut off.
From my friends and family. He deleted my social accounts, changed my passwords, blocked their numbers. I had no way to reach anyone. And that hurt.
More than you can imagine.
Tech abuse is real abuse. If you or someone you know is using technology to harm or control, change is possible. Learn how to end the violence at alberta.ca/endgbv. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Your weekend hotspot is OTR, party with Edmonton's best live bands every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Your bar, your party. Jasper Ave, 118th Street, On the Rocks, YG.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
547. So we continue on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you. Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Really good to have Rick Walters joining us now. He'll be on every Monday on the show during the football season, talking green and gold, of course, but breaking down more of the games around the league and play calling. And so if you have any questions, be sure to get those in every Monday with Rick. Next week will be Tuesday, of course, because it's a long weekend. Now, let's get to the Cam Tate 2-minute warning, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. For the rates never change, no overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Here's the man, the myth, the legend, Cam Tate.
It's a good thing I have this computer-generated voice for this particular 2-minute warning because, well, I know I could not get through it on my own. Before the segment, Jason very graciously notes, I've been in the newspaper business for 45 years. I've been meaning to gently correct him for some time. It's a few weeks away from 48. And today, it's all of a sudden become very gentle. So I'll correct you with the gentleness I now feel. In late July of 1979, in the Westin Hotel lobby bar, a man was sitting alone. Sun columnist Paul Rimstead was with me and asked if we could join him. It's beyond logic that he said yes, given our entrance. You see, Paul was sitting in my wheelchair, and I was pushing him. Honestly, none making this stuff up. Hotel guests checking in didn't know what the hell to think. Paul was holding his traditional triple scotch, and every time I was a little jerky, he'd say, "Cam, better not spill my drink." I got in my chair. In fact, the man sitting by himself helped me. As soon as he introduced himself, I knew who he was. His name ran on the front page of the Edmonton Journal sports section, right under the masthead. George Ward, sports editor. He asked if I was working. I said no. The conversation continued. 5 minutes later, George offered me a freelance gig. He hadn't seen a word I had scribbled. Still, he offered me a position. He looked at my wheelchair and said, "If you send me a piece of crap, in the garbage it goes." I appreciated that. He wasn't treating me with kid gloves because of my disability. George gave me the account number for Yellow Cab, and they would take my typewritten copy from my parents' home to the old Journal Red Brick building on the west side of First Street. 5.5 years later, when I joined the Journal full-time on the news staff, George shook my hand. "Now the real work begins. Don't screw up," he said. Without George, I would not be writing this radio segment. I've often thought about what, not only my career, but my life would look like if someone hadn't opened the door for me. That very thought, is especially heavy today. Just after 3 p.m. today, an hour before the Daily Journal news meeting was held, I learned George Ward passed away. And somehow the words "thank you" seem so very hollow. The 2-minute warning. Sports 1440.
Always tough when you lose someone who made an impact in your life, but good to remember him, and our condolences to George and his family. 550. Cons. I noticed Scherzer's already out of the game. Now the Jays are leading 2-1. He has 2 2/3. Only gave up a run. I'm assuming he was on a pitch count. I didn't see how many pitches was he at. Like, was it 50?
Let me see here. He made it through 2.2 pitches was, he threw 75.
Okay, there you go. So that's probably why he was on. Because I had heard he was going to be around 70. So, 75. Got through it, and now Fluharty comes in. So, for Scherzer, though, it gave up 1 run. Pitched a lot, but gave up 1 run, and that it makes sense to have him on a pitch count. But if his next start's good, like, I wouldn't be shocked if he wanted to, if some team would take a chance. Because here's the other thing about the trade deadline for the Jays. If the Jays can rid themselves of quite a bit of salary, that will impact their draft pick status. Because did you know if they're old, because currently they're like 308, if they get down to 284, I think it is, because right now they would automatically, wherever their draft choice is, they fall back 6 spots. because of it. That's just how the salary cap works in MLB, which is it's interesting. So now whether or not they care about that, or whether or not, like, I don't think they're just going to give away players for nothing to worry about that, but it is just another wrinkle in the offseason of the Blue Jays to kind of see where it goes. So I'm just kind of curious to see what happens there. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, I have to admit, I haven't been this excited about the green and gold in years. Already got my tickets for Saturday. Can't remember the last time I bought them in advance. And if things keep going, I think I'll be a season ticket holder next year. That one comes from Doug on our email. Always use the email. I love it, Doug. It's good. You know what? Hey, winning helps a lot of people. Right? You have a winning team, it's more fun to go to the game. Right? Oilers fans have saw a lot of wins the last few years. I know that last year didn't end how you wanted. And last year, like, the regular season never really got on track. But when you consider how many wins they've had over the last 4 years, it's been pretty good. And so that makes it more enjoyable. And the Elks been a long time coming. So if the wins keep coming, I fully expect the fans to keep going and more of them. And this Saturday, no doubt, easiest prediction I can make in my life. The Elks will have their most fans at a home game this year, over the 20,000. And I won't be surprised if they get to 30. Now, could they get to 32, which would be the biggest crowd of the year in the CFL? We'll find out on Saturday. It should be fun. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a great Monday evening, and we will talk with you tomorrow. Here's Connor Halley Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Hire Good for professional property services that you feel good about. Site cleanup, debris removal, seasonal maintenance, and more. Go to hiregood.ca. Hire Good, stable jobs create stable lives. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, the Montreal Canadiens declined winner Sasha Pasajov from the Anaheim Ducks. Former center Sean Farrell, both players in the deal are restricted free agents in need of new contracts. Former CFL most outstanding defensive player Lorenzo Malden has decided to unretire and join the BC Lions. Malden, 33, led the CFL in sacks back in 2022 with 17 and had previously signed a one-day contract to retire with the Ottawa Redblacks. Major League Baseball, Jays in action, currently leading the Nationals 2-1 in the top of the fourth. Will join that game following the upcoming commercial break. Elsewhere, Marlins lead the Phillies 5-2. Orioles have a 4-1 lead over the Tigers. Diamondbacks Pirates scoreless heading into the sixth, and you got rain delays in Chicago. So White Sox, Yankees not playing, nor are the Cubbies and Cards. Later on tonight, Astros taking on the Angels. Athletics host the Red Sox, and the Giants get the Brewers. Mariners earlier today fell to the Rangers by a score of 7-3. Coming up next on the AM dial, it is Blue Jays baseball. If you're streaming Fox Sports Radio, I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440. A Stingray.